Welcome back to Sooner Football here in Norman with head coach Lincoln Riley. Coach, an emotional win last week in Columbus. Some people look at this as a trap game. Your team, though, how do they practice and prepare this week?
We had a good week of practice. I think they understand that we've got bigger goals in mind. We've only played 2 games, and we've got to continue getting better as a team, and this will be a big step towards doing that.
You told us yesterday that Baker Mayfield still has room to improve as a quarterback. Where, Coach? He looks like he's got it figured out. How will you measure his performance today?
Oh, just by, how he leads us as a team, which he's done a great job of so far. He's got to be able to take in this game plan, do a good job of distributing the football, make a lot of great decisions.
Coach, we're glad to be here. Good luck today.
All right, thanks so much.
Thanks to CT, thanks to Lincoln Riley. You see the head coach of the Tulane Green Wave, Willie Fritz, his second season trying to turn this program around, something he's made a specialty of, turning programs around, and they're hoping for good things in New Orleans from Willie Fritz after a 5-9 start to his career. Tulane won the toss, elected to defer, so you see Kobe Neenan kicking it away, and Jeff Badette backs up into the end zone and won't bother to take it out. And so we'll get our first look this week at Baker Mayfield, and boy, he has been impressive through the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's been, he only played a half the first game, and in his second half last week was amazing, 16 for 17. You put those two together, I think he has one incompletion. You just want to see what he comes out here and what they emphasize. They know they're a better, more physical team than Tulane. What are they going to come out? What are they going to show? And what is he going to show? That's what I'm excited to see today.
Yeah, he started with 16 completions for the season. Set a school record, finished 19 of 20, and then last week he closed out that game against Ohio State by completing his final 14 passes and went 16 for 17 in the second half. He's joined in the backfield today by true freshman Trey Sermon, making his first collegiate start after a breakout game last week against Ohio State. Didn't play like a true freshman, and he gets the first carry here and gets back to about the line of scrimmage, and that is all. Let's take a look at the Oklahoma Ford players to watch. Dave?
Exactly right. The guy mentioned at the opening, Dimitri Flowers, the senior fullback. He's actually an H-back. The guy plays all over the field. Orlando Brown, the mean junior left tackle. I expect this to be his last season here in Oklahoma. And Andrews, a amazing tight end, big Gronkowski-like guy out there.
Yeah, he was a quote-unquote game-time decision, leaning a little bit towards playing. He is available today for Lincoln Riley after leaving early in that game last week against Ohio State. It is Sermon again, and maybe just a yard for Sermon. Couple of carries, nothing so far for Oklahoma's offense. Zachary Harris on the tackle.
Now, one thing Tulane's going to come out here, their coaching staff talked a lot about during the week, is showing some exotic looks. They know they can't physically match up, so they're going to stunt, they're going to move, they're going to swing, and they're going to rally to the football because they know just not one guy is going to bring these Oklahoma running backs down.
So the first third down for Baker Mayfield and the Sooners. They're at 44% through the first 2 games on third down. And the first pass of the game for Mayfield is complete over the middle, right near the first down marker. Mark Andrews makes the catch, and they'll give him a first down.
Yeah, great job noticing trips on the right side and seeing a quick coverage mishap right there. You see the safety backed up, left Andrews wide open in the middle of the field. Mayfield quickly notices it and gives the man the football.
And so a fresh set for Baker Mayfield here on the first drive of the football game. Threw for 3 touchdowns last week. They'll pitch it back to him, and a man streaking down the middle of the field is Jeffrey Mead. But he couldn't come back to it, and it's incomplete.
A great play call. They catch the defense off guard. Mayfield's got to let that loose, and he's got to run. Where'd Mead go? It looked like he kind of slowed up expecting a ball. Didn't want to outrun the coverage, but you'll see a great job sucking the defense up. And then Mayfield just needs to really let it loose and let it rip. Mayfield here slows down to try to come back and make a play, but unable to do it.
First shot he's taken downfield. Sets up 2nd and 10. He's looking at Andrews again, who got a little bit of separation, but a flag is thrown, and then he coughed up the football. It goes right into the arms of the Tulane nickelback, Jared Franklin. It is going to be first down Tulane if that pass interference is offensive.
And yeah, this is going to be an interesting call here. It looked like they tried for a back shoulder play, and Andrews, while he put his foot in the ground, he threw the defender past him. Great job rallying to come back and make a play, because now they turned a decent play into a great play here.
Pass interference, offense, number 81. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Tulane.
They lose one on their first possession here against Tulane. The first pass of the game on the first play from scrimmage for Jonathan Brantley goes to Jabril Cluis. 6-yard gain. This is the backup quarterback, Jonathan Brantley. He is taking over for Jonathan Banks, who was injured against Navy last week. And so Brantley makes his first start of the season. He got 2 starts last year, played in 8 games. He's a sophomore. And this is a spread option offense, so trying to catch him by surprise by throwing on the first play. And it is the keeper, Brantley. And he gets up across midfield, but a flag does come in.
Yeah, it looks like Okoronkwo may have drawn a flag there on a hold. And he's definitely our key player to watch of the game. Obo, as they call him out there on the field, had 7 solo tackles. It was
Holding.
pretty impressive job
Offense,
last week.
number 84. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Okoronkwo, our OU Outreach Right Stuff leader in today's contest.
Yeah, he's the jack on this defense, pretty much the jack of all trades today, as he's going to have to shift all around this defense and be the guy that really sets the tone against this triple option offense. You saw he was held on that play, but there's some lanes that Tulane can open up because of this confusing offense.
So 2nd and 11 after the penalty. Charles Jones in motion, joins Brantley in the backfield. And this time it is Dontrell Hilliard. And Hilliard on the cutback gets to the outside and pushed out of bounds just shy of the 30-yard line.
Great job by Tulane. If it's all meshed up in the middle of the field like third-grade soccer, you got to bounce out and find a lane. Tulane doing a great job moving the chains here, and not just that, you can create some big plays. You see nowhere to go in the middle, find a lane, and then get running. Found a block on the outside, chased down by Obo on the outside, but not after a nice long game by Tulane.
And there is an injured Sooner on the play, Matt Romar, the nose guard.
And welcome back to Sooner football. No score here in the first. Tulane is one of 11 FBS teams who have yet to turn the football over this year, joining the likes of, say, Alabama, LSU, K-State, teams that are winning football games. And Willie Fritz told us they stress ball security. They stress taking care of the football every single day with their triple option attack. And guys, it's a premium. We'll see how that theme plays out here today.
Yeah, thanks, CT. They hand it off here to Dontrell Hilliard, who had 34 yards on his last carry. Gets 3 more here, but you talk about the ball security. Jonathan Banks, their normal starting quarterback, transferred in from Independence Community College. He said he learned right away about ball security. Willie Fritz chased him down the field during his first spring practice, praising his ball control. Likes it high and tight.
That's impressive. It's impressive for Fritz to be able to chase him down.
It's not good if you can chase down your starting quarterback in an option. This time it's to Sherman Beatty, and he slips through and down across the 15. Finally wrestled down near the 10 by Stephen Parker. And Dave, this option offense, it's different from what Oklahoma is used to seeing.
It's extremely different from what they're used to seeing. The hardest thing is on these first drive is to imitate the speed. Yeah, you have the speed and you can do some things on Scout Team O, but you can never imitate the speed of Tulane when they come out here. So it's going to catch them a little off guard here to start. Oklahoma's got to start seeing it, though, and they got to start reacting.
Tulane last week, they were 2 touchdown underdogs against Navy. They lost by 2 points, 23-21. Beatty into the pile for a couple of yards. 6th trip this season for Tulane into the red zone. They have scored on all 5 of their previous tries, 4 of them ending in touchdowns.
And they can score because they commit to the run. This team, 10 yards, they're not scared of 10 yards. They're okay to get it in 3-yard chunks, and then a 4-yard run, and just keep moving down the field. That's why they're successful in the red zone, is because they can just run the ball every play.
Hilliard, the senior that got them into the red zone, is the one getting the football here, and pulled back out. It is Brantley. And that time he can just get to the 10-yard line, no gain on the play. Caleb Kelly on the stump.
Yeah, he did a great job hiding this. pulls because that outside, thought he was going to get outside Obo, but Obo does a good job swimming that block and just causing them to cut back, do something. Don't let them react and run on their first read. The more you can make this Tulane offense have to cut back behind the line of scrimmage, the more successful you'll be as a defense.
First third down they've faced on this drive. As the ball at the 9, they need 8. They'll throw it, and it is knocked away, but a flag comes. Stephen Parker got a hand on the football, but he had a hand on the receiver too.
Yeah, did the old corral that those DBs love to do with their left hand. You'll see he puts it around the waist of the receiver and then swims over the top with his right hand. So it looks like a good clean play, but he definitely got a lot of receiver on the way in.
Pass interference, defense, number 10. Penalty occurred in the end zone. Ball be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
The hardest thing for these DBs to do all day is to stay awake. There's not going to be many passes, so you got to pay attention, especially down here in the red zone. You don't want to get caught off guard. They know they're a little more athletic. They know they're a little more physical, but they can get caught sleeping, and that can't happen today.
Hilliard up the middle, and it's a touchdown for Tulane. The fumble by Andrews results in a turnover and a touchdown for Tulane here on the road.
Yeah, nothing special about it, just right up the gut. The first option on that triple option is to hand the ball off right up the middle of the field. If they see a small crease, they're going to take it, and that's exactly what Tulane did to get in the end zone.
A touchdown for Hilliard. Also now over 2,000 yards for his career to move into number 12 all-time on the Tulane list. And this Green Wave team has come into Norman, taken the ball away from the Sooners and put it in their end zone.
Yes, sir. Nice finish here by Hilliard, putting his head down and getting in the end zone. Giving the Green Wave the lead.
Dontrell Hilliard, the star of that drive for Tulane, who is up 7-0 here on Oklahoma after each team has had one possession. 8 plays, 65 yards in 3.5 minutes. That started because of a fumble by Mark Andrews, the tight end. And Hilliard punches in his 20th career rushing touchdown, now 10th all-time for Tulane. Backing up to take it is Marcelius Sutton, and he will take it. Up across the 15, and then runs into a tackler just shy of the 20-yard line. 18-yard return for Marcelius Sutton. And Baker Mayfield, who completed a 28-yard pass on his last play that turned into a fumble and didn't get a chance to throw another one. It is Rodney Anderson in the backfield. Flowers as a blocker, and Anderson can't get to the outside, can't get back to the line of scrimmage. Jared Franklin, who we saw had to be helped off the field a little bit earlier, came up to make the tackle.
Yeah, Tulane just doing a good job reestablishing the line of scrimmage and then shooting their guns there. Doing a great job getting off the block of Flowers. Making the play, Jared Franklin showing his presence in the backfield for the Tulane Green Wave.
So now Marcelius Sutton and Trey Sermon line up behind Baker Mayfield. On 2nd and 11, Sermon in motion. Play action, taking a shot. He has a wide open C.D. Lamb. No chance for anyone for Tulane to catch him. An 82-yard touchdown for Lamb.
And nothing special about it, just a streak route by C.D. Lamb, but what caught him off guard was Trey Sermon coming out of the backfield. A nice job for Mayfield letting the play develop and then just leading C.D. Lamb to the touchdown. As you see here, nothing special about it. The corner just shoots his guns, thinks he has responsibility in the flat. No one's deep. It's about as wide open as it gets there, Brendan. Then an easy cruise into the end zone.
Well, the true freshman C.D. Lamb has come in and made losing D.D. Westbrook just a little bit easier with what he has done in the first 2+ weeks so far of the football season. Austin Seibert for the extra point ties things up for the Oklahoma Sooners. C.D. Lamb, true freshman so far, a couple of touchdowns on the season. CeeDee Lamb, the third true freshman in OU history to start the season opener at wide receiver, and he's got himself a score here. 82-yard touchdown grab. It doesn't get much easier than that one.
No, it just seemed like they just caught Tulane kind of off guard, and I want to say they missed this coverage, but you see Trey Sermon just goes in the flat and they have two guys jump him. Just leaves CeeDee Lamb wide open. The way the corner's running, though, you would think it was his responsibility. He had to that uh-oh moment where he realized, oh no, I let him run right by me. I'm not supposed to be in the flat. So I'd say it was a busted coverage on the corner's part, but you can only guess from up here.
When asking the coaching staff and Lincoln Riley about Lamb, he said he took over pretty quickly and separated himself from everybody else. They knew physically a true freshman like Lamb and Trey Sermon, who they used in the backfield, could handle it. It was the mental part, and they said they grasped that pretty early. This one is kicked out of the back of the end zone. One more note on that 82-yard touchdown strike, the longest reception by a freshman in Oklahoma history.
Yeah, and Oklahoma already leads the nation in completions of over 20 yards. Now they have 2 today. Granted, the other one was fumbled, but another one to add to the total.
And so we'll see the response from Jonathan Brantley and the Tulane Green Wave offense, who have started the season 1-1. Picked up a season opening win against Grambling State a couple of weeks ago, and then a 2-point loss to Navy last week. Brantley has Hilliard to his right and looking to throw. And he will. It is complete to Jabril Cluis, and then he is wrestled down right at the first down marker.
And this is one thing that Tulane can catch Oklahoma off guard on, is a couple different pass routes, right? Since they don't throw the ball that often, Oklahoma hasn't seen a lot of stuff on film. And so they're just going to have to react. They're going to have to read and react back to your high school days when you can't watch that much film. And you're going to see Oklahoma, something's going to give them fits here and there, but they're athletic enough. They got to find their fits and then go make a play.
My apologies, that was Darnell Mooney who made the catch, and it did move the chains for a first down for Tulane. And they hand it off here to Hilliard. Out to the 40. 4 yards, and Emmanuel Beal on the stop.
And Hilliard's going to see a lot of action, and that's the one thing you can expect out of the option. Once something works, they're going to make you stop it. They're going to keep calling it until Oklahoma figures it out. So that early run up the middle, you're going to see that about 4 or 5 more times this quarter.
Brantley has thrown the ball twice today. He's only thrown it 8 times in the first couple of games in the spot duty that he has had. As he steps up here, takes it, has a couple of Sooners dragging behind him before Kenneth Murray ultimately brings him down, but a 5-yard gain.
Nice job getting out of the pocket, sneaking out through the middle there. As you see, he knew something wasn't open, and he quickly tucked it and ran. Something that you mentioned Coach Fritz loves is the way they hold that ball high and tight. They're not going to fumble. You see a lot of quarterbacks, they run with that ball holding it like a bread of loaf, but not these guys. A loaf of bread.
That's the one. Hand it off to Hilliard, and he spills forward close to midfield. A 4-yard gain, a little piece at a time, but the ball is moving towards Oklahoma's territory.
And what did they say in Remember the Titans? It's like Novocaine. You keep doing it, it'll always work. And so they keep running this option. They keep running this option. Hilliard's, it's working up the middle. Keep giving it to him.
It's not your typical triple option that Navy ran against Tulane last week, but you get the shotgun, the wide receivers out for the blocking version, but in its essence, still a triple option.
Exactly right, and it's a little veer and a little read option.
It is Beatty trying to cut his way through, and still on his feet for a little bit longer. Winds up getting 4 yards on the play. Neville Gallimore ultimately stopped it.
Yeah, the difference in this option versus Navy's option. So Navy's option's under center. It's a quicker attack, right? That fullback's coming flying through the line of scrimmage. These guys are set back a little more. It gives them a little more time to read. So it allows the defense to come upfield a little more, but you can sneak in behind them and you can find some new lanes behind the defense.
So a little more east-west.
Exactly right.
And as drastic of a departure of an offense as the Big 12, you will see. Hand off to Hilliard. And he continues to fight his way through. It seems like there's a lot of contact initially, but these backs for Tulane just keep moving the feet. 7 yards on the play and a first down.
And this is one thing Tulane really loves to do. A lot of these teams these days, they're concerned about the number of snaps. They want to wear you out that way. Tulane, they're still a game. They want to control the time on the clock. They want to control the game that way. They want to, the best defense is sitting on the sideline, they say. Let them rest. Let their offense run 9-10 minutes off this clock as they slowly march down the field.
Sherman Beatty joins the backfield. Dontrell Hilliard takes the football. That's already his 7th carry of the game. And he's just a couple of yards shy of 60 so far in the football game. Hilliard, a senior, out of Baton Rouge, playing in his 38th game, making his 24th start at the running back position. And as we've talked about, he continues to move himself up the rankings in Tulane history. Top 10 in the rushing list, top 10 in the touchdown list. And a pass here over the middle is complete. Taron Ancalad is down inside the 15.
That's what I mentioned before. These DBs, as talented as they are, they can't fall asleep. Sammy Parker's been man-to-man for the last 15 snaps or something and hasn't seen a ball. All of a sudden, here it comes again over the middle. It's not like he hasn't seen this pass before. It's just a simple over, right over the middle of the field. He can guard that every day, but they got to stay on it. They got to stay into the game. That's the hardest thing to do for these DBs against these option-type teams.
On the keeper. Brantley with a juke and a touchdown. Jonathan Brantley from 14 yards out. The Green Wave have scored on each of their first 2 possessions.
And knock, they quickly answer back. Tulane does a great job. Coach, he rides that. Watch him here. Rides this back underneath, sees that Obo dives too far, and he's able to sneak out the backside, just like you said, make one guy miss, and then a great block on the outside. Those DBs, they have to shed those blocks and get involved in the run game, not only pay attention to what's going to happen in the pass.
Merrick Glover has taken over kicking duties from Kobe Neenan this week, and he puts the extra point through. And the Tulane Green Wave are up 14-0. The backup quarterback, starting because of injury, Jonathan Brantley, cruised into the end zone for a touchdown. 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and it's Tulane up 14-7 on the number 2 team, Oklahoma, after a 9-play, 75-yard drive. 4 minutes and 28 seconds, capped by the second rushing touchdown of the season for Jonathan Brantley. Well, here in the Big 12, it's all about quarterbacks, and Mason Rudolph returns and maybe pushing towards a Heisman conversation at least. Had a big day today in his game. Jesse Ertz from Kansas State. You've got to throw him in the conversation, but of course, the front runner out of the Big 12, and depending on who you talk to with Lamar Jackson, this may be your front runner right now for the Heisman Trophy after what he did against Ohio State last week, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I don't know, though. Rudolph threw for 497 passing yards and 5 TDs in today's win over Pitt. Pretty impressive numbers out there in Oklahoma State.
This one off the hands of Badet and out of the end zone for a touchback. And so that'll give Baker Mayfield a chance to come back out and show off this offense as we check in with Christian Steckel down on the field. CT?
Guys, blank stares there on the Oklahoma sidelines. Almost kind of a look of shock. No emotional outburst or coaches yelling at the players here, but they are working the whiteboards on defense for their assignments. Interesting note, though. First person to meet the defense coming off the field after both touchdowns, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Coach talked a lot about he's a leader on both sides of this team. Coach Stoops mentioned it in our defensive meeting.
Abdul Adams is checking into the game for the first time. The running back that was the starter last week and was playing until he fumbled on the second possession, and then he wasn't seen again. And he gets the carry here out to the 32-yard line on his first carry, goes for 7 yards. Chase Kirshen, true freshman, made the tackle. And so, Dave, as a player, you can talk all you want. The preparations are the same, but the feeling coming into this game doesn't feel like it did last week going into the Horseshoe, coming here to face Tulane.
No, if last week was a physical test against Ohio State, this was a mental test, right? How are they able to ride this wave, no pun intended, ride the wave into a victory here?
Don't ride the green wave, though. Mayfield steps up, short pass is complete. Marquise Brown finds a lane on the outside and brings it up to the 45-yard line, chased out of bounds by Rajon Marbley.
And the reason these games are mental tests is because sometimes you think these plays are just going to come so easy, right? This isn't Ohio State. We're able to run around guys. We're able to quickly make a miss, but you got to do this consistently.
Mayfield ups the tempo, sets himself and looking long. Brown can't run underneath it. He was step for step with Perry Nickerson. The ball falls incomplete.
Mayfield went for it all, but he had plenty of guys underneath, but a little too much air for Mayfield there. But a nice ball. Sure set his feet well, put it in a spot where only his receiver could catch it if he could, but a little too far.
Adams to the right of Mayfield, and they will get it to Adams in the flat. Everybody's got a block, and Adams has a chance to cut back and get all the way up to the 41-yard line.
Exactly right. Everyone had a block there. Great job by Andrews leading at the point of attack. Like I was mentioning, what they are able to do with a tight end like that, that's a big 6'5", 250-pound guy leading the way for you, and Adams able to do the rest.
That counts as a rush. Oklahoma had 0 rushing yards coming into this drive, and now Adams has 20, and they give him the ball again. 3 carries, 22 yards so far for Abdul Adams.
You can bet that Lincoln Riley's going to try to get a little physical with this Tulane team here. They said, you know, enough of this run game, running the ball at us. We're going to show you what it's like to be here in Oklahoma and deal with our big boys up front. Wear them out a little bit. They've been resting on the sideline for the majority of this quarter. Now it's time to wear down this Tulane defense.
Lincoln Riley said he still had full confidence in Adams after the fumble, but Trey Sermon got going. They rode him the rest of the way. And Abdul Adams back in this one over the middle and over the head of Mark Andrews. He's tall, but not that tall.
Yeah, he's 6'5", 254 from Scottsdale, Arizona. Mayfield, plenty of time in the backfield, sets his feet, but not just over the top, but a little behind him as well. And Andrews kind of reminds me of the Heath Miller, Jason Witten type football players. I mentioned Gronkowski, but he's not as Frankenstein-y as Gronkowski. He's a little smoother.
Mayfield only threw 8 incompletions all last week, 27 for 35 against Ohio State. He started 4 for 7 with 134 yards. Most of that courtesy of the 82-yard touchdown grab. This is Adams again with some green in front of him. Knocked down at the 25-yard line. 15 more yards for Abdul Adams.
And expect him to get right on the ball and run another run right at Tulane here. You can see they're doing a great job pulling those guards. Big Orlando Brown coming out front, clearing the way for Adams.
This is completed to C.D. Lamb, who could not make his man miss. And so he just gets 3 yards. Donnie Lewis not fooled by Lamb. See Lewis, who 3rd year starting at the cornerback position. They've got some good corners here with Tulane, but they are going to be tested today.
Oh, yeah.
Sermon and Sutton come in with Mayfield, but it is Mayfield to throw. Has some time over the middle, open, complete, and a touchdown. C.D. Lamb has them both for the Sooners, this one from 22 yards out.
And just a crossing route, but what that really opened up was the cross action in the backfield. Tulane got a little mixed up with their linebackers. The fake sucked in the linebackers, and they're able to find space for C.D. Lamb, and Mayfield just delivers a nice touchdown. You see this cross action right here. Boom, look at how it sucks up 57. That's his responsibility to get in that passing lane. But nope, C.D. Lamb's already on the other side of the field, ready and waiting for a touchdown.
3 touchdowns in 3 games for the true freshman C.D. Lamb. Austin Seibert is out for the point after. And it is Oklahoma responding, but they have responded to each of Tulane's first 2 touchdowns.
Look, none of this would have happened if Bob Stoops hadn't stepped aside. When he approached Riley days before the announcement, he told the 34-year-old the university wanted him to take over. Riley told us yesterday not many guys would have done it, residing in their prime with brand new facilities, millions of dollars in salary a year, and a loaded roster, but it proves how secure Stoops was in the decision. The truth is, guys, Riley may have inherited the best opportunity to win of any big-time head coach in the history of the game.
Yeah, thanks, CT. It's hard to argue with that, as this one is kicked out of the back of the end zone. We were in Lincoln Riley's office yesterday. If I'm Bob Stoops and I'm sitting in that office, I'm not retiring. That office, enough to continue to coach.
Someone asked me, whose office was it like? So I was like, I've never been to the governor's office, but I think it was like the governor's. It was was, I don't know how he left either. That was impressive. It was impressive he did.
But a 34-year-old coaching prodigy, if you will. I mean, he rose through the ranks incredibly quick. And just a couple of years ago took over as the offensive coordinator here.
But CT's exactly right. He inherits an amazing program, and they already finished the recruiting class, so they did a lot of the work, and they just handed it over to Riley, basically saying like, hey, we have national title hopes here on this team. Go drive this bus, and he's doing a good job thus far.
Hand off to Hilliard. And he's able to dance his way up for 4 yards. Jordan Thomas chased him out of bounds. They have been riding Dontrell Hilliard so far in this game for Tulane.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. His first read is to go right up the middle, right off the butt of that center. And if it's clogged up, he's doing a good job finding a little space outside. He might not be breaking all these wide open, but these 6-7 yard runs are big for the Tulane offense.
They like to use a stable of running backs. And of course, they like their quarterback to run with it. That time the option does go to Hilliard. And he's just a couple of yards shy of the first down.
And there's your true triple option, right? Coming out of the back. First read, right up the gut. Oh, no one there. We're going to come out the side. Second read was a quarterback. Third option was a Hilliard. You just see they do a good job. And right when you think you got it all covered up, there's another option, because actually every player on the field has an option in the option. They can block down, they can block out, they can block head up. And so it really opens up a lot of things. It's a tricky offense to get used to, something obviously Oklahoma hasn't seen.
Asked Mike Stoops about preparing for the option. Said it's the first time in 16 years they've had to prepare for this type of offense. Hilliard gets the first down. And Okoronkwo made the hit, but not before a fresh set taken for Hilliard.
And to be honest, a lot of this time this offense annoys defenders, right? Because they look at the guys on offense and they're like, they're smaller, what are they doing? This is annoying. And they just get annoyed and they just start shedding blockers and they forget. They're like, oh, that was my responsibility, and all of a sudden the guy goes for 34.
That's Mike Stoops, the defensive coordinator. He is a fiery individual, and giving up 14 points in the first quarter to Tulane doesn't make him all that happy. A turnover on the first drive for Oklahoma resulted in points for the Green Wave. They have gone touchdown for touchdown. And the Green Wave in Oklahoma tied after one quarter. 14 all here at the start of the second quarter. Let's take a look at the Patriot Ford game summary so far. Stories, Tulane putting up 14 points against the Oklahoma Sooners, who hadn't allowed 14 points and a half in their first two games. They've given up 14 to Tulane.
Yeah, not just the points, the 117 rush yards in the first quarter. That makes the 18th straight game that Tulane has gotten over the 100-yard mark. It's a great job coming into Oklahoma and doing that.
Brantley, the quarterback. Well, he continued to fight. We'll get him all the way out to the 44-yard line. Khalil Houghton, who is starting in place of a couple of injured free safeties. Both Will Johnson and Robert Barnes are unable to play in today's games because of injuries they suffered last week. So Khalil Houghton, normally the backup strong safety, shifts over to start at free safety today.
Yeah, Coach Stoops was talking about how that move really changed things against Ohio State, forcing Stephen Parker to come down and play the nickel, as you see him down here. And I don't know if it's having an effect today, but it looks like it.
They put it in the hands of Darius Bradwell, the fourth different running back to check into the game for Tulane. No gain on the play, though. Caleb Kelly made the tackle.
And Kenneth Murray does a good job. Maybe not making the play, but at least turning it back inside. You see these Oklahoma defenders are just a little dejected, I guess is the word. Their arms are down. They're not really amped up. This Tulane offense is doing a great job slowing them down, controlling the pace of the game. They got to get off the field here in third down.
3rd and 5. They have converted twice already on third down today. And Brantley spins, and it'll be close. They have marked him just shy. Khalil Houghton and Emmanuel Beal were able to get him down right near the sticks. And they do give him the first down.
It's a big spot. Looked like it was going to be close as the Oklahoma tacklers came to rally in on the party. You see right here, he's definitely 2-3 yards short, but spins for it. They give him almost all the way to that line. But move the chains. Game goes on.
3 for 3 on third down now. Stephon Hutterson and Darius Bradwell on either side of Brantley.
Previous play is under further review.
They're going to check the spot.
Yeah, it just looked a little weird because it looked like they tackled him and the quarterback had already sat down and his momentum had stopped. You can't really just continue to spin and then spot the ball where you want to. It's where the ball actually stopped. So no, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back a little bit and they remeasure this. But
the first down line is at the 49. So he needs to be just a yard shy of that. And again, impossible to tell from that angle.
A great job by Beal knowing where that line is, though. You see him, he kind of hunkers down and starts pulling the quarterback back. Sometimes those guys get caught up and they just throw their momentum into the play and they end up driving the quarterback forward. But Beal did a good job of spinning out of that and actually trying to drag the quarterback back behind the line.
Dan Romeo, the referee, in contact with Robert Humpel, who is the replay official in our game here this evening. And again, they have to see definitive evidence that the ball either did or did not reach that 49-yard line. But the call on the field was a first down, virtue of that spot.
Now there's two stories here actually with Tulane. Is they're 10 for 25 on third going into this game, but they don't really care much about that because they'll go for it on fourth down. So they might not get it here. If they don't get it here, they might go for it.
Ruling on the field stands, first down.
There wasn't enough there. He may have been short, but not enough there on the video to prove that he didn't reach that 49-yard line.
Got to fix my stats. 11 for 26 now.
And so another conversion. The drive continues for Tulane. And do they have your attention yet?
First down for Tulane.
Three men in the backfield, and it's the quarterback with the option. There was nowhere to pitch it. There was nowhere to run.
Yeah, nowhere to pitch it, nowhere to run, and no room to run. Oklahoma does a great job stringing that out all the way to the sideline. The sideline, the 12th defender on the field. You got to use it, especially in these options. You see, they start the ball on the short side when they're running this option. If you're not going to tackle, keep forcing them. Great job by Beal and Murray just running to the football and forcing this all the way to the right side.
On 2nd and 8, they change the play. Brantley only played in 8 games last year as a freshman. Flags here before that play got off, and they never quite got the snap before the play clock ran out.
Yeah, Tulane not one of those teams that looks to the sideline to change plays.
Prior to the snap, first charge timeout, Tulane.
Pick that flag
there is
up.
No foul on the play.
A heads-up timeout by the head coach, Willie Fritz, from the sideline, just able to save a penalty. Timeout, Tulane, here in the second quarter. The Tulane Greenway of 129 yards on the ground, and now an 18-game streak of 100-plus dating back to the final 3 games of the 2015 season. And this is the 8th play of the drive. All 3 of Tulane's drive have had at least 8 plays on it. They throw it here, and having to come back for it was Ancalad. But it falls incomplete. Parnell Motley in coverage.
And Parnell Motley, 2nd and 8. Looked like he expected pass there. I think everyone in this whole stadium expected him to pass on 2nd and 8. Now probably expect another pass on 3rd and 8. Does a great job sitting at the sticks and then coming back and beating the receiver to the ball. You see right there. Does a great job sneaking his hand in there. And another pass breakup from Piedmont, as they call him.
First incompletion thrown today by Brantley, only his 5th attempt. He's going to run right up the gut here. And Brantley taken down by Marquez Overton. But a nice carry right up the middle, and he does get the first down.
And that's the one thing this offense can do, right, is they account for everybody. But you can't account for the quarterback. You can never account for the quarterback. That's what always makes quarterback runs so dangerous. He's able to get some open space there. The center and guard do a great job opening that up for him and easily converts on a 3rd and 8.
The previous play is under further review.
Or maybe not so easily.
Take a look at the spot again. Again, it was very close to a first down. And another review here for Dan Romeo.
Does a good job following blockers, loses his footing there a little bit. And he's a runner, he's not a quarterback at this point, so it's where the ball lands, not his knees. I think it's going to be hard to turn over again because it looked like they pretty much got it right.
Jonathan Brantley, again, starting in place of Jonathan Banks. Left the game against Navy last week, and he has had a pretty good first half so far. And you see Brantley stumbles, and he needed to get to the 41, it looks like.
I'm going to give it to him.
Again, did you see anything there where you can say without a shadow of a doubt that it was not a first down?
No, you know, like he did a good job actually finishing and rolling with the football. You know, sometimes they get clearly stopped, but you don't see where there's a clear stop right there. So I think you got to give him this first. But I was wrong last time.
And it's another break in the action for this Oklahoma defense. Mike Stoops up in the box. Lincoln Riley's down on the field, but no doubt a frustrated bunch at this point who gave up 3 points in the first half against Ohio State, number 2 at the time, Ohio State last week. And now they're at home and they're facing a team from the American Athletic Conference coming in here on the road. And, well, they're just running all over them.
Giving them all sorts of fits. I mean, you want to know the best way to stop Baker Mayfield? Don't let him get on the field. That's what they're doing.
Time of possession over 12 minutes so far for Tulane. Oklahoma has had the ball for less than 6. And these have been long, extended drives with a lot of running plays.
Exactly, and the difference is,
After review, the runner was short of the line and gain. It will be 4th down.
okay, but now I get to use what I said the first time, is they're going to go for it on 4th down.
I mean, they're in a spot on the field where you would imagine it plays well to that.
And it plays well to their offense, right? Like, because it's an option offense, because you can't guard everything at the snap, because they're used to that third grade, you know, soccer type mush huddle almost, just pushing everyone down the field. 4th and inches isn't really a scary down to them.
It is inside of a yard. You see there, they've got to get to the 41. Dontrell Hilliard, their leading rusher, has 72 yards. He's in the backfield. And now the officials will get together before this 4th and 1 play.
Yeah, this is an important play. They've kept this Oklahoma offense off the field for a long time, let their own defense rest. If Oklahoma can get the ball back here, they can start getting some momentum. Because right now, I would say Tulane pretty much has the momentum on their side.
And the crowd has been quiet most of the day. Oklahoma has never led in this football game. And now they come to life here on a 4th and 1. The quarterback keeper for Brantley, and he's got it. He stretched him out. He got a couple of yards, and the drive continues for the Green Wave.
Yeah, they did a great job with a quick snap there. The one thing that they didn't let Oklahoma do was get lined up. They quickly snapped this football. You can see Oklahoma still trying to react and still redirecting. That would be a great play in the open field, a 1-yard gain, but on 4th and inches, it allows you to move the chains.
First 2 games Oklahoma played UTEP and Ohio State. They held them to an average of 120 rushing yards in the game. Tulane 139 plus here as Brantley taken down by Khalil Houghton after 8 more yards.
Yeah, Obo does a good job defending the alley, as they say. So once he comes off the tackle, he's in the alley. That space between the hash and the numbers, forcing someone like Obo to a one-on-one tackle. You have a 6'1", 195-pound quarterback that's a little shifty, trying to shake Obo. Lucky they made that tackle there.
Stephon Hutterson goes into the pile, and the pile moves in Tulane's favor. Another first down for Tulane after a 4-yard gain.
Nothing special about it. We've seen it before. Hilliard right up the gut of the D. Nothing wrong. Tulane likes having 6 O-linemen just pushing piles. That's the way they work. They gave a lot of praise to the center, Junior Diaz, during the week. Said he's a hard hat guy, just comes to work every day, doesn't mind the blood and guts of playing center.
That carry for Hutterson, the 4th player to run the football today for Tulane. And that one is picked right to Parnell Motley, and now it's a foot race. The only one back there is Brantley, the quarterback, and now he's got a blocker, and it's going to be a pick 6 for Parnell Motley.
And exactly what I was talking about. You got to stay awake because this team doesn't know how to throw the football that well. And so what does he do? He jumps in front of a pass. He knows this might be a passing situation. He's awake, and he makes a play, and then he finishes the play. That's what you want to see. There's one thing making an interception, but taking it back for 6, that's what separates the good from the great receivers. You see that, a tip ball, jumps all over it, and then finish. Run for a touchdown. Great job getting the hands on the football, and sometimes that redirect can be tough for a DB to catch. Piedmont, as they say, making the big play, putting OU on top.
Motley had his first career interception last week at Ohio State. He almost had 2. Surprised he actually didn't review it to see if he had a second one. But he gets his second one today. And then he takes it 77 yards to the house to give Oklahoma their first lead of the game.
Yeah, DC native, played wide receiver. A lot of times they say cornerbacks have hands like feet. Not this guy. Does a great job catching the ball.
Has really impressed the coaching staff with his improvements in spring ball. He has stepped in after Jordan Parker was lost to the season against UTEP in week 1, and Motley's impact has been felt here. The game potentially just shifted thanks to Motley and the interception.
And the man to keep your eye on all game, especially on Oklahoma's defense, is Obo, number 31, does a great job playing the alley there, reacting. And here, folding back inside and making a tackle. And then more importantly, getting his hands on some football. This Jack linebacker can line up at end. He can line up in the middle of the field. And he can play in that alley, which is very, very hard to defend. And he can do it with the best of them.
Tulane was one of only 11 teams in college football that hadn't turned the ball over this season. That was a poor time for it. They were slowly but surely chugging along, moving the ball back down the field. They don't throw too many passes, but that one winds up in Motley's hands. Out of the back of the end zone. No chance for Sherman Beatty to return it. And out again, Dave, comes Tulane's offense. We have not seen Baker Mayfield in a very long time.
Yeah, I remember Coach Kubiak used to have a trick on these plays. Someone would take a dive here to give them a little rest because this defense is getting a little worn out. They've been on the field probably for the last, I think it's the last 7 minutes, that entire second quarter. They're going to have to get out there and rally, though, try to get a 3 and out, try to get their offense some rhythm because we haven't seen Baker Mayfield since 2016 now.
We might need to get him on an exercise bike or something on the sideline, get the blood flowing a little bit. 2 minutes and 53 seconds left in the first quarter, the last time that Baker Mayfield was on the field. And now we're more than 5 minutes in to quarter number 2. Hilliard on the carry, got 4 yards.
Yeah, not just time in the quarter, but just time in general, right? It's been about 25 minutes since they've almost been on the field. So here's Tulane just once again grinding away on these early downs, trying to put themselves in a third and manageable.
25 rushes, 6 pass attempts for Brantley and the Green Wave. Here's the option. Hilliard knocked out of bounds by Kenneth Murray. And it's going to be 3rd down for the Green Wave.
Yeah, Brantley takes a shot on this play. You can see this is the danger of running an option as you leave your quarterback open for plays like that. You see him got upended in the end of your screen there. He's not going to want to run the ball too many times if that keeps happening to him.
3rd and 1. Right up the middle. And Hilliard just puts his head down and picks up the first down.
Yeah, pretty unique formation. I would call it a pistol, but Hilliard stood directly behind the quarterback, almost to like hide which direction you thought he was going, but nothing special about this play. Right up the middle. Does a good job getting a first.
Montrell Hilliard led last year's team in both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, averaging 69 yards per game in the process. He's got 85 today, and he's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Darius Bradwell broke free for a first down. Kenneth Murray dragged him down, but not before 15 more rushing yards.
Yeah, and they're obviously seeing something in the middle of that defensive line for Oklahoma as they keep going back to it. They keep handing this ball off. You see Bradwell does a good job reading his blocks. 52, Dominic Briggs does a great job opening it up for Bradwell. And then he does the rest, finishes with a nice long run.
Training staff had to jog on the field and help their middle linebacker Kenneth Murray off for Oklahoma. And so John Michael Terry has taken his place. The flags come here from every direction possible.
I saw something I didn't. I didn't see what happened.
Offside. Defense, number 91. Contact in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Dylan Famatau made some contact there, and so it'll help the cause of the Green Wave.
Yeah, you got some tired, frustrated defensive linemen out there. They do not like this type of football where these old linemen just continue to cut them down.
The sun not glaring as Bradwell takes it forward. Another first down for Tulane. But it is still a warm day here in Oklahoma. 88 degrees currently in Norman. And a humid day. And, well, speaking of hot, Mike Stoops is hot.
Yeah, there's two ways to wear out a defense, right? You force them to run all over the field, right? And that's what the spread offense does. This, or you push them around. And that's what Tulane is doing right now.
They hand it off to Bradwell again. He gets 3. Mark Jackson makes the tackle. In this Oklahoma defense, we saw Kenneth Murray leave the field, replaced by John Michael Terry. Matt Romar got injured very early in this game, and that's why Faatau is in this game, backing him up at nose guard. So they have worn down this Oklahoma team. They've been on the field on the defensive side for a long time. And they've got some injuries to deal with as well. Hilliard. Maybe a yard. Let's check in with Christian Steckel. CT?
Well, guys, trainers down here on the Oklahoma sideline working on the left hip, upper thigh for Kenneth Murray. They just sat him on the bench, worked him a little bit. He stood up within about 20, 30 seconds, lined up and was ready to get back on the field.
Thanks, CT. That is good news for Oklahoma, trying to get off the field as a unit right now on 3rd and 6. Hilliard right behind his quarterback again. They're trying an option and couldn't get away. Read by Parnell Motley. He got him off the field last time with the pick 6, and he does it again.
And a great call by Coach Stoops, sending Motley off the corner. He says, I'm sick of this. I'm sending these guys. I'm going to force you to throw the football because I know you can't do it. You'll see Motley just shows up on the right side of your screen and boom, blows up the play. Another big play by Motley, but hey, this is Tulane. They're going to go for it on 4th down, so they got to come back and make another play.
They are. And they're also going to bring in a second quarterback. Glenn Couillette is lined up as the quarterback here. He was their starter last year. He's now listed as the 5th stringer. And he might punt this one. Yeah. They bring him in for the pooch punt. And it's well placed and downed inside the 5.
They got Slash back there with the punt in a great place on the 5. Nice job, Couillette.
Doesn't get a chance to throw it anymore, but they use him for the foot. And so they pin Oklahoma deep, but Parnell Motley has been all over the football for the Sooners, coming back with the offense. Sooners up 21-14 on the Tulane Green Wave. Coming in from New Orleans in the American Athletic Conference, and they've got Oklahoma pinned back inside their 5. And Baker Mayfield back on the field. 12 minutes and 21 seconds of game clock has run off since the last time we saw him. But he's got a lead for the first time as Marcelius Sutton takes the carry. Time of possession so far in the game prior to that play. 18 minutes and 36 seconds for Tulane, just 5 minutes and 51 seconds for Oklahoma.
And 38 plays for Tulane and 16 for Oklahoma. Just finished their 17th play. That's good defense. Don't play. Force them to guard the veer option.
Number 2 team in the country, Oklahoma. 61 weeks since 2000. Mayfield on a pump, and Lamb adjusts and came back and stays on his feet. Mayfield's been throwing the ball, and Lamb's been hauling it in. Donnie Lewis able to take him down, but a 23-yard strike.
That looked like a veteran move there, a pump, hoping the DB would bite and go over the top, but if he doesn't, throw it behind and force him to make a play. Great job by Lamb adjusting.
So this time it's Marcellius Sutton. And Marcellius Sutton continues on, just shy of a first down. 5'8", 192 pounds, and he was a bowling ball through the line of scrimmage there.
Yes, he was.
He had 9 carries against UTEP, led the team. Last week it was Trey Sermon. And this carry, it's Sutton again. And good luck taking down Marcellius Sutton.
And if you remember last drive, this is exactly the way they started. I'm guaranteeing that O-line went to Lincoln Riley, said, let's run the ball. I want to throw these guys out of the club. Orlando Brown leading the way. Got Eric Wren just dominating this line of scrimmage right now for the Oklahoma Sooners.
This is a backfield that had 2 guys drafted out of it, in Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine. And they have replaced them, Trey Sermon, Marcellius Sutton, Abdul Adams. And coming back on the reverse is Jeff Badette. Flags fly as Badette takes it into the end zone.
Yeah, it's going to be close. They might get C.D. Lamb coming back and targeting. He lays a vicious block to open up the run, but
that's Terrace Chanel.
Might have been a little too vicious.
It was Badette on the reverse. It was 44 yards, but it may be coming back.
Yeah, you know, I'm not too mad about this. These are some of the hits that they're trying to get rid of in college football.
Personal foul, blindside, targeting, number 9 of the offense. 15-yard penalty, replay, first down.
The significant part of that
play is now under further review.
Is not the reversal of the touchdown. It's not the loss of yardage. It's the loss of C.D. Lamb.
Yeah, exactly. And these are really hard, especially for a freshman. You see a wide open guy that you get to go hit and get to take some frustration out. I think that's good and clean. He uses his shoulder, hits him right in the chest. They're going to take away the targeting. You know, and he didn't even really throw his body too much into it. He stays on his feet.
You hear the reaction of the crowd as they got to look on the video board.
After a second look, that's a good clean block. You got to have your head on a swivel as a defender, especially as you see reverse. You know someone's coming to get you.
I mean, there's an injury on the play to Terrace Chanel, which you don't want to see. But after taking a look, I'd be shocked if C.D. Lamb isn't lined up for this next play, which, with 3 minutes and 37 seconds left in the first half, in what is a 1-score, potentially a 2-score game if they take back all the penalties.
Yeah.
I mean, this should be a touchdown in 28-14 or 27-14.
That's a, you know, after looking at it up top like this, I saw it down on the field. It looked pretty aggressive, and you couldn't tell because he kind of ducks his head and it looks like he might have used his crown, but he catches that guy right in the sternum. And and he doesn't leave his feet there. I mean, what are you supposed to do as a receiver? You get put in those situations almost every time you catch the football. You get one chance, you lower your shoulder, you do a good job putting it right into the guy, you knock him over. Unfortunately, he's a little banged up, but that's just good, hard football.
They have helped Chanel off the field, but they are still reviewing this play. Dan Romeo in communication with Robert Hubble. And you see Lincoln Riley glancing up at the video board and shrugging his shoulders, shaking his head, saying there's nothing there. C.D. Lamb has 2 receiving touchdowns today. The only other touchdown that was scored was on a pick 6 from Parnell Motley.
Yeah, wide open touchdown is what he had on that first play. And kind of had a wide open block right here. That's a tough decision to make as a receiver because it could have been worse, put it that way. He did a good job actually positioning his body and not leading with the crown of his head and not leaving his feet. I think it was a good, clean, legal hit.
If they do come back and say that it is targeting, that's the end of the night for C.D. Lamb. He would be done for the rest of the game. But we'll get an announcement here.
After review, the targeting foul has been confirmed.
Wow.
By rule, number 9 has been disqualified from the game. It will be first down at the 40-yard line.
So CeeDee Lamb's night is done. The touchdown is taken off the board as they confirm the targeting on what they call a blindside block, despite there being no helmet contact.
That's a really, really big play for what you just mentioned. CeeDee Lamb is now out of the game for using his shoulder and throwing his shoulder into the sternum of a block player. I just don't understand that. I don't understand what he's supposed to do, because if he stays still and he's going to take the brunt from the defensive back, you have to let him block players. And as a defensive back, you got to have your head on a swivel. You see reverse, the first thing they tell you, look right, because something's coming from your right. You know what I mean? It's not coming directly in front of you. That's why it's called a reverse.
So as Lamb is headed to the dressing room with a game's worth of stats in his back pocket, 131 yards and a couple of touchdowns, he's walking off the field with more receiving yards than he's leaving on the field, 116 for the rest of the team. And an ovation for Lamb as he heads towards the showers.
That's a big loss, though, as a receiver. It means these other guys are going to have to step up. And not only that, he's a nice crutch for Mayfield. As you saw, he's one of the first guys he looks for downfield. Now he's got to look to Andrews. He's got to look for some other guys on the outside. Got to step up, make a play.
And a timeout taken here by Oklahoma just before that play.
Prior to the snap, first charge timeout, Oklahoma.
Just so Lincoln Riley can get in the official's ear a little bit longer.
The boomers are booing, that's for sure. They're not too happy with that call, and I wouldn't be either.
So Lincoln Riley will try and rally the troops. Oklahoma up 21-14 after a touchdown taken off the board, and their leading receiver, CeeDee Lamb, sent to the dressing room after a targeting foul following a block on a reverse. Take one more look at it. Again, you're not allowed to make forcible contact to the head or neck area of what a player that they deem defenseless. And that's what they're saying there. So forcible contact to the head or neck area. We know it wasn't the head. That chest close enough to the neck area. And so CeeDee Lamb's day is done. We'll see if Baker Mayfield and the offense can get that touchdown back here in the final minutes of the first half. And he's going to take a deep shot and a diving play by Mark Andrews.
Huge play by Mark Andrews. You're exactly right. Diving and getting all that back and some. You're kind of worried about them having been that 15-yard penalty, but to get back and won.
Tulane was never set. They quickly snap it. They throw it to Marquise Brown, and he's run out of bounds. Tulane, I don't think, had anybody where they wanted them when that ball was snapped.
No, obviously Lincoln Riley did something called 2 plays in the huddle. They already know what they're going to run. It doesn't matter what happens. And so they had a long completion, ran to the ball, and they already knew what the second play was. Catching Tulane off guard and almost getting 7 there.
They lined up again quickly, then take their time here. Abdul Adams is with Mayfield. A high snap. Mayfield able to knock it down with his fingertips, and he's going to take it, escape, and get out of bounds. But that could have been disastrous.
Yeah, Mayfield only listed at 6'1", but it's a kind 6'1". Does a good job climbing the ladder here, tipping it, and then still going through his read. Making the end dive down, giving himself some space to get around the corner and get the first.
So 1st and 10 from the 20. Mayfield under pressure. Got rid of it over the middle of the field, and Brown in and out of his hands. Let's take another look at that catch from a big man, 6'5", 254-pound tight end Mark Andrews, laying out.
That's what you call getting horizontal right here. Great job getting his hands underneath the football and then pinning it to his chest so it doesn't bounce around. Those are tough on the seam routes there as you're running down the middle of the field because you don't have a lot of room for air. It's not like it's coming over the top. It's not a very forgiving football to catch. You kind of got to snag it and quickly bring it into your chest.
Mayfield wide open, touchdown, Abdul Adams.
Where was this guy? Abdul Adams saying, "Give me the ball, coach. I'm sorry about last week. I'm sorry." Does a great job coming out of the backfield. Some people call this a gator route. Some people call this a 5 route. Some people call this arches. It's just really easy. The back comes out of the backfield, gets put in a one-on-one situation with the linebacker, and sneaks right by him for 7. You see him coming out of the backfield. What's he do? They don't want to pick me up. I'm not going to come inside. Boom. Right over the top. 21 Adams with the touchdown.
Third touchdown pass today for Baker Mayfield. Seibert adds on the extra point. Abdul Adams, 4 carries for 37 yards, and his only catch today from 20 yards out, a touchdown for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma, we'll call it arches here, but you see 44, Luke Jackson kind of bites up on that fake and doesn't drop with Adams there. His job is to drop underneath Adams as he runs up the seam route, because those safeties are already accounted for. They've already spread the middle of the field, and Adams does a good job just getting by Jackson and finding an open spot. I want to say it was a great route, but it was kind of...
Bouncing kick towards the sideline is fielded by Beatty. Out across the 20. And falls out of bounds near the 22 after a 16-yard return. Pushing on the Oklahoma sideline there. Baker Mayfield this season in passes from that 11 to 20-yard range. Perfect 13 for 13 for 262 yards and 4 touchdown scores.
And that's the last pretty much spot on the field where those RPOs really work, right? You're able to get those linebackers to read that option, and then pulls it, quickly dumps it over to, in that case it was Adams, but this season has typically been Andrews and my guy Flowers, so we haven't even seen that much today.
He has not touched the football. Dimitri Flowers. Brantley in the green wave, 2 minutes 28 seconds to work with. It has been 21 straight points scored by Oklahoma as Hilliard gets just a yard.
Yeah, you hear the crowds come alive. The defense is going to come alive. They're finally slapping hands. They're hitting each other on their head a little bit. You can see the emotion has changed a little bit, and that's not what Tulane wanted.
This was 14-14 at the start of the second quarter. Oklahoma with the only 14 points here. Brantley tried to go up the middle, and he got clocked by Gallimore. Gallimore, 310 pounds coming your way.
They call him the Canadian bulldozer. Watch here, quickly gets through, swim move, get out of my way. I'm gonna go wreak havoc.
Second charge timeout.
Doesn't even have to really get down and make a tackle. You run into a man that size, sometimes you just fall over. Someone check his passport.
Just the second Canadian to ever play at OU. Started 6 games last year as a redshirt freshman.
30-second timeout.
And he's not a guy you want to get hit by. Lincoln Riley, fastest coach to reach a top 3 ranking in the AP in OU history. Talked about the team that he inherited. It's a pretty good squad. Went on the road to Columbus last week. And a convincing win over Ohio State. This is their last tune-up before Big 12 play starts next week against Baylor. Brantley doesn't get anywhere close. No need for a review on that one. It'll be short. And 4th down coming up.
Yeah, and Stoops came after him again. Sent Pat Motley, as you can see, coming off the corner here. You can't bounce this play. Oklahoma doing a good job funneling them to the linebackers and making a tackle.
Gallimore in on it again. Oklahoma takes a timeout to stop the clock, 1 minute and 47 seconds. Lots of time for a guy like Baker Mayfield to see Mike Stoops, who's settled in with his defense here after giving up 14 early.
And settled in's exactly the right way to put it. I mentioned that it might take a drive or two for them to get used to the speed of what Tulane does, or how they can react and where their fits actually are, because you can't imitate this in practice. You're not going to get these looks during the week. And not only that, the looks that you practice, they're going to look completely different out there on the field, because Tulane is putting in a whole new basically game plan for Oklahoma, and so it's taken them a while to react, but now you're seeing this Oklahoma defense play like they did last week against Ohio State, really pinning their ears back and showing their physicality.
First First time all game that Mike Stoops' defense has forced a 3-and-out. The defense have been on the field for at least 8 plays in all of their previous drives. As Zachary Block is out to punt for the first time. Jeff Badette calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 41-yard line with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go after a 34-yard punt.
Plenty of time for Mayfield in this offense to get down the field.
But their deep threat is in the locker room in CeeDee Lamb. They have more than one. That's not fair to say, but
yeah,
the main target today, CeeDee Lamb, not an option here. He has 4 of the team's 10 catches.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb does a great job extending the field, right? But you still got guys like Andrew, who you saw in that last drive, that can get by a linebacker and make a play. But you're exactly right. Who else is going to come out there and make a play? I'm looking for Jeff Badette. Just caught that punt. Line him up in the middle of the slot and force the linebacker to guard him. Force that nickel will to guard him as he flies down the middle of the field.
Badette number 2 at the top of the screen. You see the offensive numbers for the Sooners. 3rd in passing yards per game. One of the teams ahead of them, Texas Tech, had only played 1 game. Had a bye week last week. As Mayfield to throw on first down. If he can escape, but he cannot. Mayfield sacked by Luke Jackson and lost 6 yards in the process, and he gets up holding that left leg a little gingerly.
Yeah, it looked like they laid on a little awkwardly. He had all goes. He had 2 goes down here. Looked like he was staring down his go route. Thought it might come open and bailed a little late.
Mayfield. Lots of space over there for Badette. It'll be 3rd and short after the 13-yard completion.
These corners are giving up a little space right here. You don't want to call this prevent defense, but there is time on Tulane's defensive side, so they're not in a hurry to get up and press and try to force the ball over their heads.
You're on 3rd and 3. A glance toward Lincoln Riley. Oklahoma 2 for 2 on 3rd downs here tonight. And Mayfield just got rid of it, and it's just overshot for Jeffrey Mead.
Yeah, double inside routes here by Oklahoma. Looks like Andrews is coming up a little gingerly, but Mayfield didn't like what he saw on the inside. Said he went for Mead on the deep ball on the outside. Second time he's missed him. Remember that on the first drive of the game, tried to connect in the end zone. Got to dial that back a little bit. He had a wide open Mead on the sideline.
And for a team that called timeouts to preserve the clock here at the end of the half, now they have to punt it away and give it to Tulane, who still has a couple.
And Tulane doesn't even have anyone back. They don't care. Austin
Seibert. Just his 3rd punt of the season, and it bounces into the end zone. Coming up on the Oklahoma Ford Dealers College Football Halftime Show, number 9, Oklahoma State beat up on Pitt. West Virginia 2 in a row. And number 7, Michigan up against Air Force here on the 3rd Saturday of the college football season. Worth noting, Dave, on that last offensive possession for Oklahoma, the free safety Terrace Chanel, who was the one who received that blindside block from CeeDee Lamb that resulted in his ejection, did play during that series. He was back on the field, which is good to see.
Yep. I mean, you never want to see guys get, just demolished out there on the football field, but this is a physical game. Those DBs seldom let up when they get their chance to hit wide receivers. So every now and then as a receiver, if it's a clean hit like that, you got to take it.
We're starting field position today for Tulane.
It's going to hurt their run average.
Where it'll end. They have a couple of timeouts. They'll take a couple of knees instead. And they'll head into the dressing room down by 14. 21 points put up by the Oklahoma offense. A pick 6 was the other touchdown. And no doubt not where the Sooners thought they would be after a half of football here against Tulane.
Yeah, they're not happy. Tulane's not exactly that happy, but they're not discouraged. Down 28-14, they showed what they can do. They came out and played pretty well in the first quarter. Got a little outmatched here in the second quarter, but you can see Oklahoma, the way they're walking off the field, a little disappointed in what they did this first half.
Well, Baker Mayfield still in this half that is frustrating for Oklahoma. Threw for 3 touchdowns, 250 yards. Christian Steckel on the field. CT?
All right, guys, thanks, Coach CeeDee Lamb. 2 receiving touchdowns in the first half, but then thrown out of the game on that targeting call. What did the referee say to you, and what did you assess it on?
You know, I didn't see it, but they confirmed it, so that's what we got to go with.
Talk about your defensive front 7 against the inside trap zone. Almost 200 yards you guys gave up here in the first half. How do you think they're playing?
Yeah, we stayed out of gaps. You know, they did a good job of moving us some on line of scrimmage. We missed some gaps and didn't really settle in until the end of the half there.
Coach, thanks.
All right, thanks.
Brendan?
Thanks, CT. Just what we said, the defense settled in, didn't allow any points during that second quarter. Meanwhile, they put up 14 of their own to get a little bit of separation, not as much as they hoped for. They're up 28-14 after one half of play over the Tulane Green Wave. As the band was on the field here at halftime, and it's an OU 14-point lead. Not exactly the way they wanted to see it go. They fell behind in this game, first 7-0, then 14-7, and have rallied back with the only 14 points in the second quarter. Let's take a look back at how this unfolded.
Yeah, it took a while for Oklahoma to shake off their victory hangover and get up to speed, but this has really been a tale of 2 quarters. This first quarter caught everyone off guard as Tulane was able to create some turnovers and then take the lead at 7-0, and then create another 3-and-out or get the ball back from Oklahoma after Oklahoma scored, and then take the lead again, 14-7. But that was pretty much the last time, as you see right here on this score, that Tulane was able to score in this game. And then it's completely switched here at the end of the second quarter as Piedmont has a big interception that comes up with a big pick 6, and then Oklahoma really just starts relying on that run game as they allow those big boys to just wear on Tulane and just take the ball down the field and methodically take over this football game, and then finish it with drives, as you see here, wide open Adams. And that's what happens when you can run the football like Oklahoma. You're able to create those big plays, wear on the defense, and then take the lead and take over the game.
See the first half stats, they are misleading. Oklahoma's not exactly shutting down the passing game. They're a run team, Tulane is, but the time of possession, 20 minutes, 28 seconds for Tulane. They held the ball for 11 minutes and 19 seconds in the second quarter alone. Check in with Christian Steckel, who spoke with Mike Stoops. Christian.
Well, guys, if it looks like I'm sweating, I am. It's still hot down here, and I chased Mike Stoops all the way down the tunnel to the elevator. He told me their gap assignment is not very good in the front 7. He said they have to play better, they have to play smarter, and they have to communicate more. He did tell me that the Motley pick came off a film study. He said we knew what route was coming. We saw it at the line of scrimmage. He jumped the ball, and he made a great play. He said it's all about energy. It's all about effort. We've got to contain them from going east-west, and if we do that, we'll have a chance to have a solid final 30 minutes. One other news of note, Baker Mayfield was in the training room during halftime. They were assessing that left leg. Question is, how long does he play in the second half? How much do you need him in a game like this? Guys?
Yeah, thanks, CT. Go take a seat next to Baker there on the bench and put your feet up a little bit. Let's take a look at the Mid-First Bank Right Stuff leader. You're looking at him already. Mayfield, 11 of 16, 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. His passer rating right now, 261.9.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's not. That's the thing.
Yeah, but the most important number, obviously the 3 TDs look good, but the 0 interceptions. When Tulane is able to take command of the game and not give you that many drives, you can't give the ball back to him on an interception. They did have that 1 turnover earlier in the game, but they were able to quickly come back and score on the next drive and get back into the game.
That was CeeDee Lamb with his 2 receiving touchdowns. Came out in his jersey for the start of the half and then had to go back in the locker room as he has been ejected from the football game. It is kicked out of the back of the end zone. Tulane won the toss at the beginning of the game, deferred to the second half, and so they start quarter number 3 with the football. What have you thought of the play of Jonathan Brantley, who's not their normal starting quarterback today, Dave?
Well, he's done a good job of controlling the offense. You know, I'd say you don't get a lot of credit being an option quarterback because it doesn't look like you're dropping back and throwing passes, but you are making a lot of decisions, right? When am I going to give the ball to the guy up the middle? When am I going to pitch? They haven't put the ball on the ground, and he hasn't fumbled or he has had an interception, but that ball was tipped. He can't really play much better. You can't really expect that much more out of him.
First play of the second half, the handoff to Dontrell Hilliard, who had 86 yards on 15 carries in the first half. He gets just a couple here.
I'm worried about CT down there. He's all right.
Chase Mike Stoops a little bit before Stoops went back up to the press box where he watches the games from the defensive coordinator. There he is. He's okay. He's okay. Got a pretty good view of the game.
Yeah, he does.
2nd and 8. Wanted to pass, had to tuck it and run, and it turns out into a great play for Tulane as Brantley shoved out of bounds by Motley, but not before 13 yards and a first down.
Yeah, does a good job tucking it and running. You see here, he does have a nice little combo route down here to their left, but he quickly decides this isn't for me. He's got a big center out in front of him, Junior Diaz. It's almost like it was a design kind of delayed quarterback run there, which wouldn't surprise me at Tulane because they like giving those options. They like making it look like they got a pass play and then just taking off down the middle of the field.
Brantley, the quarterback, 14 carries for 62 yards now. And he's going to have to throw it here. He's taking a deep shot. Off the fingertips. Darnell Mooney almost got there.
Oh no, he's going to want this one back. Him and Brantley are going to look at this and be so disgusted. He does a good job keeping his arms in and trying to finish through the football, but just through his fingertips. That's when you got to dump it into 4th gear right there and try to finish, but just too short.
That was
going to haunt him.
That was a first-team All-Big 12 cornerback in Jordan Thomas that he was up against as well. Back-to-back passes here. Brantley sliding down. Did he make the catch? Jabril Cluis is credited with the catch right in front of the Oklahoma bench. Now he's not.
Nope.
One official said catch, the other one says I had a better look at it, and it is incomplete.
Looks like they got it right though. Here you can see he tries to slide and it ends up pinning it in between his hands and the ground. It's impossible for that ref to see behind, but the ref in front runs back in and clearly says nope, no dice here, send it back.
So 3rd and 10 instead of the first down. Brantley, who completed his first 4 throws of the game, has missed his last 4 and has thrown a pick. And he gets sacked from behind. The ball came out. Kenneth Mann was able to get to Brantley. And they do rule it a fumble, and Hilliard was able to get on top of it. And Okoronkwo is face down on the turf.
Like something awkward happened on the fumble recovery. Sometimes when you're down like that, it's just a shoulder because you land pretty hard on your shoulder and you don't want to push off to get up.
Second team All Big 12 last year. Okoronkwo, a big part of this defense, leading the Big 12 coming into week 3 with 2.5 sacks. And his left arm is the cause for concern right now for Oklahoma.
You always like to see your fellow linebackers messing with you. You see Kelly just kicking him. Get up, Obo. You know you're all right, but Brantley tries to look left, and it looks like he was going to dump the ball to Hilliard there, but what did Obo catch a knee from a teammate or something? I don't know. Looked a little awkward as he was scrambling for the fumble, but that was pretty close to a fumble opposed to an incomplete pass, but
It looked like there was much there, but you see his left arm grab some friendly fire. And so now Tulane has to punt. Cadet backing up here, and that one is booted into the end zone. A 59-yard punt results in a touchback. And Baker Mayfield will get his first possession of half number 2 after an effective first half.
Absolutely, and what I liked about him is he stayed in the pocket. A lot of Baker Mayfield's plays from last week were created on his feet and his ability to divide time, but now they move the pocket for him, but you see he's not trying to force too many plays. He's taking what's open, and he's doing a good job delivering the football. He had 2 misses, which I didn't like, with Meade trying to collect downfield, but otherwise he's been pretty much on point, and those receivers are making plays for him.
Threw for 3 touchdowns and 250 yards. And they will hand it off here to Marcelius Sutton. 9 yards on the carry.
Yeah, this is the biggest difference between this quote-unquote air raid influence it has on the offense is they run the ball 50% of the time. These guys have rushed for 2,000 yards the last 2 years, and they're going to do it again this year.
They send Adams in motion, and then they throw it to him. Abdul Adams has lots of green out there. Dragged down by the ankles at the 40-yard line by Chase Kirshen.
And that's the danger of having Mark Andrews out there as a receiver and a blocker. Look at him. He just clears the path. Plenty of room for Adams to get an easy 12 yards before he gets touched. I would love to have 6'5", 250 in front of me as I'm running down the field.
Adams has 205 pounds of his own and is just a sophomore. Mayfield here. Wants to go long. Wasn't there. Comes back across the field. Looking for somebody to get open, and he does complete it. And staying in bounds is Brown as he gets to midfield, but he'll be a yard shy.
The Oklahoma offensive line had a bunch of defensive linemen just pinned to the ground, giving Mayfield plenty of time to look left, look right, stop, check again, and then come all the way back around. You'll see one guy down. Now there's another guy coming on the backside of the screen. He's down. Here's Mayfield just directing traffic and finally finds an open receiver. But credit that offensive line, those 5 returning starters, mean, nasty guys, throw you on the ground. They just don't like you.
They gave Brown the extra yard, so it is a first down for Oklahoma. Behind what many build preseason as the top offensive line in the country. Haven't done anything to dissuade that as Adams runs into a pile. Led by Peter Woolard. Just a couple of yards for Adams on the carry.
Yeah, when that offensive line is not pass blocking, they're pulling. Big number 72, Ben Powers and Orlando Brown, wrapping around the right side of that offensive line, leading the way for Adams. Might just be 3 yards, but those types of runs wear on defensive line. They don't want to see two offensive linemen of that size come running at their face every play.
Empty backfield. Adams stays on the field, though. The running back lined up at the top of the screen. On 2nd and 8. Mayfield escapes. Takes a shot towards Calcaterra. And the tight end had it knocked out of his hands. P.J. Hall able to break that one up.
I really like those plays. Some people have issues with setting your feet and throwing the ball long when it kind of seems like the pocket breaks down. But when you make someone miss in the pocket like that, why not take a shot? You got a big mismatch there with a tight end on a smaller defensive back. Throw it up and let him make a play. Boom. See that? Give yourself some room and let it rip. I like it. But then again, I'm a receiver, so.
Quinlan Carroll was coming hot after Mayfield, and that one little step got him time. The first target for Calcaterra. On 3rd and 8. Steps up, taking another shot, this time towards Badet. Out of the back.
Okay, now we're getting carried away.
You can't do it every play?
You can't do it every play, and here's the issue, right, is he's giving guys time to get downfield, but now you got everyone running to the point of football because the ball's in the air for so long. You see he's coming up a little hobbled there. I don't expect him to play too many more plays. But he buys himself some time and then lets it launch again, and he's just throwing it so high and so far that 2 guys had a chance to run underneath it. Sometimes you just got to take what they give you and take a shot every now and then, but not on back-to-back plays.
Not a good punt here. Takes a bounce right about the 15-yard line. And out of bounds. It will be the 15-yard line for Brantley and the Green Wave. First time they've met since the memorable Rose Bowl. 2006 with Vince Young. Montreal Hilliard, just a yard there on first down. Neville Gallimore makes another tackle.
And this is the hardest part for Tulane, right? They're not built to come from behind, and that's what Oklahoma wanted to do to them early in the game. And that's why this type of offense doesn't really work when you're down. It's not easy for them to come back. They got to run the football. They're not designed to pass, and so it's going to be tough for Tulane to really make something happen.
They've attempted 8 passes so far in the game. And Bradley to the 20. And It'll be 3rd and 5. Okoronkwo back on the field and making a tackle.
Yeah, he just does not get enough credit. I mean, he gets a lot of credit, but he should get even more. The way he is playing the alley, he's basically having 2 reads. He's reading the quarterback. Is he giving the ball inside? Because I got to peel back and make a play. If not, I got to quickly put my foot in the ground, redirect, and go guard that alley, making sure that I don't give the quarterback a free run right down the numbers.
Crowd comes to life here on 3rd and 5. To Beatty out of the backfield. Did he stay in bounds is the question. They'll mark him out a couple of yards shy.
And I'm pretty sure that was Caleb Kelly come flying off. He might not have made the tackle, but he redirected the entire play. You see right there, he dives. They're going to credit Stephen Parker probably with the tackle, but Caleb Kelly, one of those plays that really the coaches point out that don't really get mentioned in the stat, or they don't get added into the stat sheet. Redirecting, you know, those are really important, especially against an offense like this that's all about going east and then quickly getting north.
Zachary Block out to punt it again for Tulane. No CD Lamb to return it. Jeff Badette is back, and it's a short punt. It'll bounce around the 40 and take a Tulane bounce down to the 30-yard line. 48-yard punt. The 30-yard line for Baker Mayfield and OU. 8 minutes, 12 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. Lincoln Riley's team up by 14. As Oklahoma's won more Big 12 championships in the last 18 years than they lost home games. Last 18 years, of course, is all under Bob Stoops. He had an 18-year run here before stepping aside in early June and handing the keys to the Ferrari to Lincoln Riley, and Abdul Adams is off to the races. Yeah, knocked out of the 20-yard line.
Oh, got to get that last. You try to get there. The receiver's got to get down there and get a block for him. But Adams doing a great job getting through that first wave of defense, making a guy miss, cutting back, getting to the sideline. That's when you want to see your Marquise Brown work a little bit, help your guy out, get a block so he can get in the end zone.
49 yards for Adams on the play, the longest run from scrimmage for OU this season. Mayfield, a pump fake, and then he's taken down. Mayfield couldn't get away from Sean Wilson. Let's go back to that run by Abdul Adams.
Yeah, Adams does a good job just following this read. One of those holes is going to pop open. As you see, big Eric Wren does a great job. He cut right behind his butt. And then does a good job finishing this run to get through there. Breaks a couple tackles, make a guy miss, cut off another block. Great job downfield by Jordan Smallwood. You like to see that. Receivers blocking. That's how you get big runs.
After the 4-yard loss, 2nd and 14, Mayfield sets, fires over the middle, complete. Mark Andrews. A couple of yards shy of a first down thanks to P.J. Hall's tackle.
Yeah, he was expecting that guy to bite on that little fake. Andrews probably thought he had a touchdown there. I certainly did. I didn't think that guy's had a chance of tackling him.
Oklahoma 3rd down. And Adams does convert. They're now 3 for 5 in the football game. Catch from Andrews.
Yeah, just a simple crossing route. Use your leverage, get across the field. And just say, I'm bigger, force the tackle me. P.J. Hall, good job bringing the big man down.
See the red zone offense, 10 touchdowns and 12 trips for Oklahoma. They are looking at Sean Wilson, the nose tackle for Tulane. He's down on the field, and the reason for our little break in the action here. Looking
right
at
in the middle of your screen, yeah, number 94. You see, just kind of gets rolled up on as a pile of offensive and defensive linemen end up on the left side of your field. I can say it once, twice, 3 times, but this Oklahoma offensive line is nasty. Just watch the way they finish plays and throw guys on the ground.
Quick throw. Broken up. What an athletic play on the breakup by P.J. Hall.
Yeah, P.J. Hall was the guy to tackle him on the last play. Now coming from space, doing a good job sneaking in there at the last second. Mayfield lucky. If he held on that ball a little longer, that might have been a pick coming back the other way. Lucky it was just a pass breakup, but Andrews, that's when he's got to use that big body. Get those hips into it, turn it in almost like a rebound. Position yourself so DB can't go through you.
Marcellus Sutton right up the middle for the touchdown.
Sutton just following those big offensive linemen. Look at them all fired up, still talking enough trash. Letting everybody know we're the biggest, baddest dudes out here. Don't worry, pull those two big boys. Orlando Brown clearing the way, not a chance. Sutton doesn't have to sneak in there. He quickly just ran right through there. Following 6'8", 345-pound Brown and 6'4", 310-pound Powers. Those are two big bodies that get in the way of defensive linemen quite well.
Sutton averaging 9 yards a carry today. He was already leading the team in that category this season. Close to 6 yards per carry over the first two. 6 plays, 70 yards, 2 minutes and 14 seconds. They love Marcellus Sutton around here. Why not? They're up 35-14.
I love you, Grandma. I love you, Grandma.
28 unanswered points by Oklahoma, who now leads 35-14 over Tulane. You see the scoring drive, 70 yards, 6 plays, 2 minutes and 14 seconds. And if Tulane was studying tape of the Ohio State game last week, they wouldn't have prepared for Marcellus Sutton, who did not appear in the game last week because of the play of Trey Sermon. But he has certainly appeared in the game here tonight.
Yeah, 5'8", 192, not exactly what you expect coming out of the backfield for Oklahoma, but a dangerous runner, does a good job finding holes and finding space, and obviously finding the end zone. And he's also run down on kickoff.
That one almost split the uprights on that kick from Cyber. And Tulane will come back out and try and move the ball as efficiently as they did in the first half. It just hasn't been the same really since the first quarter for this offense. It's that pick 6 thrown by Brantley.
Yeah. You know, Oklahoma's had a chance to see the speed. They've seen the combination of plays, the blocking schemes. So now they know what to look for. And they got their energy. They're well rested. And now they can just kind of impose their will and their more physical play on Tulane.
Brantley dragged down by Okoronkwo.
Another big play by Obo. One thing Coach Stoops mentioned is this team is amazing sideline to sideline. They play really well horizontally, and that's why they're able to two-gap these plays. Obo reads that play in the middle and says, I'll go chase this down. A tackle for loss all the way out there is hard to do, especially from that jack linebacker spot.
His 8th tackle today, first one in the backfield. Brantley looking to throw. Couldn't go left. He'll run it. And he is eventually dragged down by Emmanuel Beal after 3 yards. Cornell Motley was in on the tackle as well, as you see him trying to grab that football.
And here's the hard thing for Tulane. Earlier in the game when they could run the ball, they were getting favorable matchups outside, man-to-man defense. But now that they can't run the ball and Oklahoma knows they're going to have to pass, Oklahoma can drop another person in pass in the pass defense. So now there's really nowhere Tulane can go. They can't run, they can't hide, and now they're enforced in a 3rd and long, something they don't want to be in.
3rd and 9. They are 4-for-9 on 3rd down, and he is sacked. The ball came out. Okoronkwo. Junior Diaz able to get back on the football, but Okoronkwo got a hit on the quarterback.
And reason to celebrate. Look at this man. He is a man amongst boys right here. Coming from your right side of your screen, a little stump move, comes inside. Surprised he's that wide open. Does a great job tackling and getting the ball out. Those are things that they teach you as a defensive lineman. If you're this wide open, you got to not only just make a play, make a big play here. Go find the football, be a ball hawk, and celebrate once you do it.
It looked as if he injured his left arm on a previous play. It looked as if he made that entire play with only his left arm. They almost got to the punter. They are not throwing a flag for the contact there, as the punt will come to rest right about the 41-yard line. 22-yard punt. A 3rd 3 and out forced by the OU defense. Oklahoma with the lead and the ball at the Tulane 41-yard line after a short punt by Zachary Block. Don't necessarily want your punter named Block, but they didn't block it. They also didn't touch him on this play, despite the soccer move, if you will, where he fell to the ground trying to draw the flag. No contact whatsoever.
Punters and kickers. They get me sometimes.
He's had to punt 4 times. 59 was his long. That one was just 22. And so Baker Mayfield still in the football game. His next pass presumably goes in a positive direction. Will put him over 1,000 yards. He's sitting on 999 yards on the season. This is week 3, and he only played 1/2 of the first week. And he's going to take a shot downfield and overshoots Grant Calcaterra.
Yeah, Calcaterra just on a little wheel route on the outside there. Try to play with his leverage on Franklin. Overshot him a little bit. Nothing special about that play. Just decide, hey, on first down here, we're going to take a shot, take advantage of a mismatch, and they weren't able to connect.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Trey Sermon today, who actually started the football game as a true freshman. But he is in the backfield right now. And he gets the ball. First contact came pretty quickly from Cameron Sample. Results in a 1-yard loss.
Yeah, Trey Sermon and Dimitri Flowers. I'm still a believer that Dimitri Flowers causes a lot of issues when it comes to personnel. They're subbing him out right now, putting in more speed, but he's a tough guy to match up with out there.
It's such a big game against Ohio State. 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. And he has not found the football in this game. Mayfield. Pocket collapsing. Now he's got plenty of time. Now he's got to get away again. Mayfield on the move. No one to throw to. He'll take it for as many yards as he can, and then a late shove there. Draws the ire of the crowd. Cameron Sample. No flag, 7 yards.
Yeah, that's when as a receiver you got to find work. That's what they say. Hey, if you're not open right away, if the quarterback looks at you and doesn't throw you the ball, pretend like you're going deep and come back. Go left and go right. Give him some work. You see these guys are just standing around. If he's not going to throw you the ball, he's not going to throw it to you. Move, run. Get open. Get another guy open. Go attract coverage. But you can't stand there. You know what I mean? You see these guys. Throw me. You can't clap. And then don't clap. That brings attention to you, not just of your quarterback, but of defenders. Just find a spot, and if you're not open right away, go find another spot.
Going for it on 4th and 4. Mayfield to throw, double clutched, and then throw it right through. Flag comes, though, on the contact with Jeffrey Mead. He had a defender on either side of him. Chase Kirshen was the one who may have made contact just a tad too soon.
Yeah, Jeffrey Mead was open early. Kirshen put himself in good position and then just kind of overplayed it at the end there. No reason to bail them out. Bailed out Mayfield there, in my opinion. He's got to get rid of that ball a little earlier on a 4th and 4.
Saw the officials come together before they come over and talk to the referee. Relay their findings.
After discussion, there is no foul for defensive pass interference.
Discussion. You see here a great combo route. You got to throw that ball earlier. Yeah, it's a bang play. Sometimes they throw those flags, sometimes they don't. It's odd that they come together in a discussion and say no, we're gonna pull that back. But in the NFL you get that call more times than not. But out here in college football, it's a little tougher.
Yeah, it was Donnie Lewis and Chase Kirshen on either side of Mead. Lewis with the early hit. We have a new quarterback in for Tulane. This is Khalil McLean, and he tried to stretch it out. Kenneth Murray having none of it. Welcome to the game, Khalil McLean, a true freshman.
Yeah, bigger. Khalil McLean, a 6'3", 220-pound freshman out of Creekside, Georgia. He's not going to want to try to get outside on these runs. His body's best suited to run a little more in between the tackles.
He's their 3rd-string quarterback. The 2nd one used today. The normal starter, Jonathan Banks, injured against Navy last week, and that pass closer to the feet than the hands of Darnell Mooney. McLean threw for 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns last year, ran for 1,200 yards and 18 touchdowns as a high school senior. And a guy that Willie Fritz went out and brought in. Again, you've got to recruit a special type of quarterback where you're going to run this option offense.
Exactly right. You got to find a guy that in high school ran a similar package, because you don't want to teach everything. Because the hardest thing to teach is the read and the pitch. It's not an easy thing, and if you don't do it right, you got a lot of turnovers coming your way.
3rd and 12. And down he goes. Neville Gallimore was in there, and DJ Ward came to his help.
Neville Gallimore, the Canadian bulldozer, bulldozing his way through that offensive line. Big voices, give me some love. As you see him at the top of your screen, once again comes through on a stunt, sheds 2 blockers. Just gets in there. Nice job by the entire Oklahoma defensive line. As you see them just pushing that pocket completely back. Not giving McLean anywhere to run.
With an 8-yard loss, Badette is back, has to back up, won't bounce to him, and he'll watch it continue to roll. So the officials have to break up an altercation right near midfield between a couple of players, but they keep their flags in their pockets. Big Neville Gallimore has certainly made an impact on this football game.
Yeah, they believe
he's in
he's
the backfield there.
They believe he's the next big thing, next big defensive lineman to come out of Oklahoma. When you think D lineman, I mean, you've had Gerald McCoy come out of here, and they've been waiting for someone since him. They said Gallimore ran a 4.72, a big 310-pound man ran a 4.72, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't run. You can't break 5 up here.
Nope. Big man. Trey Sermon. A handoff from Baker Mayfield. Still in the game here in the final minute of the 3rd quarter. How about the Sooners? 7 national championships, 29 bowl appearances, 46 conference championships, 10 Big 12 championships. That all boils down to they're a good football program. They have been for a long time.
That should have been the footnote.
Yeah.
Summary. They're good at football.
I have a way with words. Mayfield takes his time. Lots of room for Marquise Brown, and now even more space. Dragged out of bounds to the 41-yard line.
And Mayfield doing a good job. Just these crossing routes have caused Tulane fits all day. You'll see Brown will come into your screen right to left. Does a good job stuttering, making the first guy miss, then getting up the sideline and getting a couple extra yards. Once again, Oklahoma receivers. Jordan Smallwood trying to get a piece on some guys and open up some more run lanes, but another first down for Oklahoma.
It's the final play of the 3rd quarter as Mayfield goes over 11,000 passing yards in his collegiate career that started way back at Texas Tech, 2013. Oklahoma, 35-14. They've put up 28 unanswered points.
We're going to take another look at Obo and his amazing day. 9 total tackles, 5 solo, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, and right here, 1 tip pass, which doesn't make the stat sheet, but breaks open this football game. This guy has been all over the field, inside, outside, running players down east to west, and also getting in the backfield and just being disruptive. Obo, no mercy.
Okoronkwo is our mercy player of the game. Look at that stat line. Forced fumble, a sack, couple TFLs, 9 total tackles, 5 solo. As Mayfield rips one to the far side of the field, complete to Marquise Brown, who he has continually targeted here today. That's 11 yards and a first down. Brown didn't even get into the game last week against Ohio State.
Yeah, well, when CeeDee Lamb goes down, some other players got to step up, and Brown found his way on the field. Now needs to find himself a couple catches. Just a sophomore, a young player for this team. Needs to find his niche.
First and 10 from the 30. Sutton cuts around, knocked down just shy of the 10-yard line. Jared Franklin made the tackle, but an 18-yard carry for Sutton, who continues to rack up the yards.
Yeah, and here you got your split black formation, which has caused Tulane some trouble on the pass and the run. Oklahoma able to break open a wide open run here again after their third quarter dominance. Dominating again in the fourth.
P.J. Hall down on the field. Into the red zone again. 2 for 2 tonight against Tulane. Nowhere to run this time for Adams. Just got back to the line of scrimmage. Jackson on the tackle. The guy we haven't mentioned in terms of running back, Rodney Anderson, for Oklahoma. He's another guy they had. He missed most of last year with a broken bone in his neck. He played only 2 games in 2015 before a season-ending leg injury at Tennessee. And he's a guy that was highly coveted out of high school. This is a pass. It's a completion. It's a touchdown for Jordan Smallwood.
I promise I was going to say pop pass, but I thought it was going to be Flowers and not Smallwood. Oklahoma known for these RPOs down here, like we were mentioning earlier, in between that 10 and 20-yard line. They're extremely dangerous because they just need a tiny little window. Smallwood doing a good job finding his way behind those linebackers on a slot route. Even though this cornerback's got inside leverage, he goes and eats it up. It's an easy pass and catch there. Too much room by Tulane.
Jordan Smallwood is a redshirt senior playing in his 36th career game. He scored his first career touchdown last week on a jet sweep. That was his first career receiving touchdown for a wide receiver.
Well, nothing feels better than that. Reception touchdown and a big play against Ohio State.
Jordan Smallwood, the receiver, on the 4th touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield. Score probably starting to look a little bit more the way Lincoln Riley thought it would as we get into the 4th quarter here with them up 42-14. It's time now for the OG&E play of the game. This Parnell Motley pick 6.
Yeah, Piedmont, as they call him. No visitors on DC Island. Baker Mayfield refers to him as DC Island. Does a great job reading this pass, stepping in front of it, and basically turning the tide of this entire game. Was 14-14 up to that point. He does a great job finishing this play, getting all the way and finding the end zone. He's been known as the player that makes big plays in practice. In the spring game, he had an interception, and here he is, stepping up when his defense was struggling to get off the field, coming up with a big pick 6.
Back-to-back weeks in which Parnell Motley has picked up an interception. As a sophomore, another impact player on this Oklahoma defense, who's short a couple of defensive backs in this game because of injury. As Seibert continues not to let anybody come anywhere near running back a kick tonight.
As Coach, our production guy up here, says the south wind is kicking. Put it at your back. No returning any kicks here going this way.
It is blowing what will be directly in the face of Khalil McClain, the true freshman, out for his 2nd series. No doubt getting some valuable experience on the road in a Big 12 environment. In case they need him moving forward, obviously they'll plan on using him at some point in the future, maybe not this season. As this is Darius Bradwell. Emerges for a few more yards. They're at home, Tulane, next week to welcome Army West Point to New Orleans.
Yeah, that game will look a lot different. This big front from Oklahoma, but Tulane has to be pretty happy about the way they performed earlier in this game. Got a little worn down as the game went on, but they had a good showing in the 1st quarter.
They led this game 14-7 for 35 straight put up by the Sooners. Tulane's last touchdown came 4:28 in the 1st quarter. Darius Bradwell again moves the chains. There's Kenneth Murray, the true freshman.
Yep, they're going to stick with their bread and butter, right? This has been working pretty well all game. Give that ball up right behind that center. Junior Diaz, keep running that ball down the field. Try to get it in 5-6 yard chunks. They got another 1st down.
On the option. McClain, the late pitch bobbled, and this ball is all Oklahoma and Kenneth Murray.
Exactly what we talked about. A new rookie coming in, Khalil McClain, hasn't really had that much
Rolling on the
experience
field
pitching
was
the
a
ball.
backward pass that was recovered by the defense. First down.
And that's what you can't do. Can't put the ball on the ground in an option play, right? It has to be just like a handoff. You got to see where you're pitching the ball, see the pitch, be the pitch. Unfortunately, he was looking in the backfield, didn't really get a good eye on where his guy was. Didn't give Bradwell a good pitch, but can't put the ball on the ground in the option game.
Darius Bradwell, the sophomore and converted quarterback, was the one on what was supposed to be the receiving end of that pitch. And now, for the first time today, Baker Mayfield not on the field with the offense. Kyler Murray checks in at quarterback.
Stretching those legs. This boy can run. Get ready. Some electrifying 40-yard dash going on right about now.
Kyler Murray, the transfer from Texas A&M, hands it off to Rodney Anderson. Just his second carry of the game, and the guy I mentioned who has missed most of the last 2 seasons with a couple of injuries.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, another highly recruited player out of Katy, Texas. Redshirt sophomore, but he's had some experience and he's had to deal with some injuries, and I can tell you he's excited to get back on that field, get some snaps.
Throw from Murray, complete to Meade. And Meade tackled just before getting to the 30 by Trey Jackson. Jeffrey Meade's a senior. Only 16 catches over the first 3 years in his career. As you see what Kyler Murray has done this season. Played the second half of the opener against UTEP. Actually got into the game a couple of times last week when Mayfield was dealing with some cramping issues.
Yeah, they have a package for him. You saw that they had like a handoff to a pitch play that they ran. So he is someone that they want to get in on the offense and give some looks to.
This is Sermon. Eventually taken down by Lawrence Graham, but an 8-yard carry.
Just keep your eye on this Oklahoma offensive line. Almost every play, there's someone on the ground. You see big Orlando Brown knock someone over right there in your screen. That's what guys love running behind, right? These guys, Trey Sermon, Kyler Murray, get in the game. They want to see these offensive lines still block, still work, and they're out there working.
When we asked Lincoln Riley about Murray, he said he's a threat to score every time he runs with the football. He gave it off to Rodney Anderson here. But at the same time mentioning that he is a really good thrower, with the potential to be a great thrower as we get a flag thrown in late.
Yeah, a little extracurricular between Peter Woolard and Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown's been tossing everyone out of the club. As they used to say, no jerseys in the club.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 57, defense, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down. This is number 57's first unsportsmanlike of the game.
Check out the bottom left of your screen. You see Orlando Brown just toss him on the ground at the end, and then Peter gets back up and shoves him. Orlando says, hey, can't do that.
Brown last year the Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. First sophomore to win the award since 2006. The guy who started all 29 games now since the start of the 2015 season. Sermon gets away and gets in. Touchdown, Trey Sermon in Oklahoma.
And nothing crazy about it, just a simple off-guard run play. Probably like 16, maybe 7, or would that be opposite? So like a 15 power type play, able to get behind these big offensive linemen. They all block down. Trey Sermon does a great job breaking a tackle there, getting through and finishing the play. Now it's where Oklahoma just wears on you. These big boys, some of them sub out. They just had a couple second linemen in there, and it doesn't matter. They're big, they're strong, they're 4-star, 5-star recruits just the same.
That's one to remember for Trey Sermon, the true freshman, the first touchdown of his career here in Oklahoma. There wasn't much contact on the way to the end zone. OU up big. 185 yards on the ground for Oklahoma, 49 points on the board. The most recent touchdown from Trey Sermon, the first of his career. True freshman, but he enrolled early. He was here to participate in winter conditioning and spring football, and that helps a guy transition from high school to college and be as effective as he has been in the first 3 weeks.
And that's something we talked about off air. How do these guys do that? They set that intention that, hey, I want to go in and I want to play when they're sophomores in high school, right? They take the summer school classes necessary, and they say, I'm going to be a big-time player. I'm going to go play at Oklahoma. I'm going to go show up early.
And this one goes out of the back of the end zone again, kicking with the wind here in the fourth quarter. Sermon's one of 3 true freshmen that have really come in and made a big impact. C.D. Lamb, who we saw ejected for targeting on a block in the first half after he scored 2 touchdowns. And then you talk about the middle linebacker, Kenneth Murray, the first OU middle linebacker to start week 1 as a true freshman since 1975. These kids are coming in, not only are they ready to play, they're ready to be impact players in the Big 12.
Absolutely, physically and mentally. You talk about a 6'2", 240-pound middle linebacker, Kenneth Murray. Coach Stoops can't talk enough about him. Says before he leaves, he's going to be one of the more special linebackers at this place.
McLean started running out on the option. He got clocked. Kenneth Mann put a good shot on Khalil McLean.
Making the tackle is John Michael Terry.
And you're not going to see anything different out of Tulane. They don't have anything different. Their playbook is pretty simple. They run the option. This is how they beat teams. They wear them down. And if they get down by something like 35 points like we were seeing, they really don't have any special plays in their playbook. They just got to run what they're used to.
Willie Fritz of the Green Wave went 4-8 in his first year at the helm for Tulane. McLean was able to pitch it to Hilliard and pick up the first down. Their one AAC win came against UConn in the season finale, as Fritz is trying to turn this Tulane program around.
And Coach Fritz said we had a nice long conversation during the week talking about the type of players he has to recruit. If you don't know about Tulane, they're a top 10 university in this country out of New Orleans. They have to recruit the likes of they're going up against the Northwesterns, the Stanfords, the Princetons. They're getting those type of players.
There is a lot of football talent in the state of Louisiana. There are 6 players on this Oklahoma roster from the state of Louisiana. You see Fritz there, and the well-traveled coach that he is. His coaching career started back in 1993 at Blinn Junior College, went to Central Missouri, the D2 school, then on to some FCS programs, Sam Houston State. And in each of those places, he was charged with turning the program around, and in each of those places, he had a winning season in year 2. He has never in 20 years had back-to-back losing seasons.
Yeah, impressive. I asked him why he stayed at Central Missouri so long. He said, I didn't think I was ever going to leave.
McLean trying to beat the outside, and they won't let him go. Trey Brown, step for step, and a 4-yard loss.
Yeah, Trey Brown, one of those young players, another freshman on this Oklahoma team, excited to go out there and get some reps. One of these impact players that will be a great player here at Oklahoma for some time to come. He's not going to see many passes coming his way this game, but he's definitely going to get his share of tackles.
It leaves them with 3rd and 13. To throw, if he can. He'll take off instead, and he's knocked out of bounds before midfield, so Trey Brown was able to keep him from getting to that first down marker.
Yeah, great job by Trey Brown actually peeling off his responsibility once the quarterback breaks the line of scrimmage. You see these quarterbacks all are trained pretty well to tuck the football. Sometimes that doesn't kind of bode well, because if he probably keeps that ball out and can give Trey Brown a pump fake, might stop Trey Brown's feet and allow him to get a first. But because he tucked it, Trey Brown knew he wasn't a threat to throw. I got to run up and make a tackle, and he was able to save his team and get him on a 4th down.
4th and 2. On the option, got rid of it at the last moment. And he was just able to stay in bounds and get that first down.
Yeah, just able is exactly right. Late pitch you see here. Looking for Dane Ledford coming around, the freshman, listed as a QB and receiver. Had some great hands on there, able to catch that ball and get his team the first.
True freshman. Dane Ledford got the conversion on 4th down. And Tulane now 2 for 2 on 4th downs. As Bradwell got the carry there, John Michael Terry, a redshirt freshman out of Tulsa, making the tackle.
2-yard pickup to the 45, brings up 2nd and 8.
And so it'll be 2nd and 8 for Khalil McLean and Tulane.
And these might not seem like important snaps, but these are really important snaps, because if someone goes down in a big game, these are the guys that are going to fill in. These guys need to see football. They need to get their, get their licks in the game.
McLean on the keeper, just back to the line of scrimmage. And this is the last chance for a tune-up, if you will, for Oklahoma, who Baker Mayfield, I think, put it perfectly after the game. He wanted to make it known beating Ohio State is not going to be the highlight of this season. They have much bigger intentions than just going on the road and beating a top 2 team.
Yeah, they talked about the last time they were ranked this high was 2011. I went back and looked up 2011. You know who they beat the second game of the year? Second team? Florida State, who was ranked number 5. They wanted to beat Missouri, Ball State, and beat Texas at number 11, but then they lost to an unranked Texas Tech team and pretty much foiled their plans for the rest of the season. That's not what this team wants to do.
Hutterson got tackled immediately by Addison Gums right at the line of scrimmage. The schedule sets up for Oklahoma as kind of an ease into the Big 12. While it starts next week, it starts with the struggling Baylor, Iowa State, and then Texas, who has struggled before they get into the Kansas States, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, TCU, and then of course they've got maybe their toughest test. You see on the bottom of the screen there, November 4th, Bedlam. And then they may have to beat somebody again in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, they might have to beat Oklahoma State twice this year. The Big 12's not easy.
Burdett is back to receive this punt. Tells everybody to get away. And this one will bounce down near the goal line and kept out on the 1. So Zachary Block pins OU in deep. 5:06 to go. It's time to open up the Riverwind Resorts playbook and the rushing attack for OU.
Yeah, this rushing attack was pretty deadly today. Started off a little slow, 7 for 37 in the first quarter, but since 21 rushes for 148. Not only that, they spread the ball around, a lot of touches. Adams had 8, Sutton had 6, and Sermon also had 6. But in my opinion, what really got deadly was when Adams and Sutton were in the backfield together in those split backs, giving people a hard look. As you see, just the linebackers didn't know where to go, and these guys, quality 4-star, 5-star recruit athletes, they are able to finish.
And so Oklahoma trying to finish this one off. They've got just over 5 minutes left. They've got Kyler Murray in at quarterback again for his second series. And Trey Sermon just able to get out of the end zone. It was a punt that left them at the 1-yard line to start this drive. And it starts the clock back up again with the run from Sermon.
Yeah, 5 minutes left here, up 35. There's a couple Johnnies out there hoping this game can get another score.
Got a long way to go to get there. It's Lee Morris who checks into the game.
Wind is howling.
Kyler Murray out to the 10. That'll make it 3rd and manageable for OU.
If there's anyone who can go 99 at the split second, it's number 1, Kyler Murray. I was doing some scouting reports on Kyler, and instead I ended up watching 15 minutes of YouTube videos of him dashing by defenders on his way to a Gatorade National Player of the Year. An exciting player to watch whenever he touches a football.
Murray, who plays on the OU baseball team, stole 12 bases this year. You talk about his speed.
Oh yeah. He says he's the fastest guy on the team.
See if he shows it off here on 3rd and 2. He'll throw. He's got the arm. It is complete. And a first down for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma's going to take their time getting to the ball. They're going to waste the majority of this clock here, but they're going to get these guys some reps. They want to see what Kyler Murray could do. Is this guy going to lead Oklahoma for years to come? He's in the driver's seat once Mayfield leaves. They want to give these guys tests. They want to give them reps.
Handoff goes to Rodney Anderson. And a flag comes in at the end of Anderson's run. Marvin Moody, true freshman linebacker.
They're going to get a hold on the outside here as Anderson was coming around the corner. Looks like their guy had a handful of jersey.
Holding. Offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Miles T's one of their H-backs. Little handsy on the play.
Yeah. Appropriate name, I guess. I don't know. That kind of all works there. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, those are tough runs when you're in the H-back position in the slot and that running back's coming flying and out there because you have a natural position on the outside. And all of a sudden, when they're pressing you to the outside, you can tend to lose leverage and your arms extend and you look like you're really holding a lot more than you are. But they get you for those quite often when you're in the slot like that.
4th penalty of the game against OU. 3 penalties last week against Ohio State. Kyler Murray taking a deep shot. And he got it! Lands in the hands of Marquise Brown.
And how about that going up top on the play right here? It's a big toss by Kyler Murray and an even a bigger job by Marquise Brown running into it. Sometimes those look easy, but when you see that ball flying in the air, you know you have to stay full speed to get underneath it. Woo, those can be tough, and does a great job keeping his arm running and running through the football. A lot of times you see what happens is guys, they stop running and they do what's called forklifting. They just stick their arms out and they hope that the ball lands in there. Nope, you got to keep those arms pumping and run through the football, finish the play. Great job by Marquise Brown.
Mayfield threw one for 82 earlier, that one from 87. I'll tell you what, Dave, that ball was in the air for an eternity, and it looked like there was no chance Brown was going to be able to catch up to it, but
Absolutely.
He did.
Yeah, you know, some people throw a tough ball to catch deep, but he did a great job just laying it up for a nice touchdown.
Well, it's not 14-7 Tulane anymore, 56-14 OU. Let's take a look at the Air Comfort Solutions game summary. As Baker Mayfield threw for 331 yards for Oklahoma. Now Kyler Murray's thrown for 103. He's only thrown 3 passes. But those two guys, no matter who they've had at quarterback today, have been impressive.
Yeah, Mayfield doing his best Patrick Swayze impression there. Those are normally reserved for offensive linemen. Don't lift too many guys up.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. You see the yardage there. Had pass plays of 82 and 87 yards here today. And if you're keeping score at home, that is 2 of the 5 longest passing plays for Oklahoma in the last 17 years.
That is a gem of a stat right there. I mean, people underestimate how valuable those big plays are, right? Like, they are devastating to defenses. You think you have the offense pinned down, you're going to make them work really hard, and all of a sudden they go over the top for 82 yards. It's deflating, and it gets your offense riled up, that's for sure.
First time this season Oklahoma has had 2 receivers with over 100 yards, as that play for Brown joins CeeDee Lamb's play from the first half before he was ejected for targeting.
That's the easiest way to get over 100 is catch 1 for 82. That'll do it.
We talked about Baker Mayfield's passing efficiency earlier. We didn't think it went as high as 266. Kyler Murray right now is sitting at 498.4.
What does it go up to?
I don't know what that means. I would assume he's 3 for 3 with 103 yards and a touchdown.
I think he broke the computer. 498, that doesn't even make sense.
No. Loss of a yard on that play. It's Baker Mayfield. I mean, he put up Heisman numbers again, and he will continue that conversation. Only Lamar Jackson had better odds in Vegas coming into this weekend to take home the Heisman Trophy for a guy that finished 5th 2 years ago and 4th last year.
And you know what? It's a lot of like basketball in that way, and then he's going to get his, right? But how can you limit the Oklahoma offense? I would focus on that running attack. If you can limit the running attack of Oklahoma and force Baker Mayfield to beat you, you might stand a chance. But if they can have the run and the pass like they did today, they're going to be a hard team to beat.
That was Stephon Hutterson. My apologies to Mr. Mayfield. Finished 4th 2 years ago and 3rd last year.
Yeah.
In the Heisman Trophy voting. And if he continues to play the way he's played, he'll at least be on the stage in New York.
Yep, you get to go to New York. That's fun.
3 yards to the 27.
I was never invited. Finished, I think I got 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting. Yeah, right.
I got 6th too.
In the independent vote.
You can't check.
My mom voted. Does my mom get a vote? I think my mom gets a vote.
4th and 8, they'll have to punt it from their own 27. Badette calls for the fair catch, and now it's to come up to get it. That wind is wreaking havoc on the ball in the air. They got a friendly bounce after being blown back by the wind. 31-yard line, 24 seconds to go. Well, Oklahoma opens their Big 12 schedule against Baylor next week to see the Heisman Trophy winners and a Heisman Trophy hopeful.
Yeah, Mayfield's got to be happy with the way they bounce back. You know, if he's a leader of this team, they struggled a little bit in the first quarter, which, to be honest, I kind of expected coming off that big win at Ohio State and running into a Tulane offense that runs this weird kind of veered through triple option formation you can't practice for. And then they came back and imposed their will on Tulane. Did a great job running the football, did a good job opening up passing lanes for Mayfield, and he did a great job connecting with receivers on simple passing routes, goes, crosses, and then making it happen when he had to.
No doubt hard for this team to get up for this game after going into Columbus last week and picking up a big win over then number 2 Ohio State. They've just fumbled the football here.
Wow. That's a way to end a football game, Tulane, with a nice tough tackle, but too little too late.
So a turnover with 13 seconds to go. And big DeAndre Williams instead of come up with a fumble recovery. Abdul Adams has to feel better after today's game than last week after he fumbled and didn't get to see the field again. And Parnell Motley had a big pick six, back-to-back weeks with an interception. And now, instead of the final play of the game for OU, we're getting the final play of the game most likely for Tulane.
You know, and I understand, we asked Coach about why didn't Adams get more reps. He said those other guys were playing well, and I understand it as they got, you know, a bunch of guys included in the rushing game this week, but he definitely showed that he deserves to touch the ball throughout this season. You want to see young kids bounce back like that. You don't want them to be remembered for a fumble in a game that they ended up winning anyway, right? It's different. His confidence is back. He's ready to play, and I think this was an important game for him and the Oklahoma rushing attack.
Dane Ledford made the catch for 12 yards. And down to 6 seconds, and Khalil McLean. And Tulane might want to take one last shot here. They have been held off the scoreboard since the first quarter tonight.
I tell you, they're not too happy when Murray went over the top. They're definitely going to take their shot right here.
McLean steps up, throws shy of the end zone, incomplete as the clock hits 0 and the game is over. Tulane had a 14-7 lead at one point in this game, but Oklahoma roars back and then some and wins 56-14 for the 13th consecutive win for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yep, and Coach Lincoln Riley, the 5th coach to start 3-0, the 7th time in the last 8 years that Oklahoma's been able to start 3-0 and get out to one of these fast starts. That helps when as you want to make this push into the Big 12 conference and eventually, hopefully for them, into the college football playoff.
Lincoln Riley now 3-0 as a head coach. And he is down on the field, and Christian Steckel is right with him. CT?
All right, guys, thanks, Coach. You guys were down 14-7 in this ball game. Most people thought you wouldn't be there, but great teams make adjustments. What was the most important one you made tonight?
Our defense just settled in. You know, we gave up those first 2, and then after that, we scored a defensive touchdown and shut them out from there. So they do some great things offensively, you know, that are really tough to defend, and our defensive guys settled in and played very well there at the end of the half and then the entire second half.
You're 3-0 now. Obviously, though, this time of the year, it's about improving every week. How do you want to see this team get better going forward?
Oh, a million ways. You know, we've got to be more consistent. We've got to settle in a little bit earlier. We still haven't played great early in games yet on any side of the ball. So we've got a ton of work to go going into Big 12 now, and so we'll get to work on it.
Coach, thanks so much. Appreciate the time. We're going to welcome in Baker Mayfield here. Baker, come on in. Great game tonight, as always, my man. 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, but it was interesting tonight because 20 of the first 30 minutes in the first half, you guys were on the bench. How frustrating is that, and how hard is it to get into a rhythm?
It's very frustrating, as an offense, but when you come into a game like this, knowing what their offense does, it's expected. So they did a good job of controlling the tempo and having the time possession. But offensively, I didn't have a great game. The yards and the touchdowns say otherwise, but my completion percentage was not where it needed to be tonight. I didn't give my receivers enough of a chance, but we played just well enough to come out with a win in the end.
I love how humble you and your coach are. They both, you talked about it, trying to get better every week, trying to improve every week. Going forward, what are the things that you want to see in your game improve?
Oh, I just got to give my receivers a chance. When I gave them a chance tonight, they made great plays. So, they made me look good, but that's just, like I said, got to give them a chance. There's too many overthrows and just missed spots tonight, which just got to be, more zoned in.
Saw you hobbling a little bit on that ankle. Obviously, you're a tough guy, but where is the status of that ankle?
I'm all right.
On to the next. Baker, thanks for the time. Brendan, back to you.
Thanks, CT. That 63% completion percentage coming a little bit back down to earth for a guy who was at 83 coming into the game. Final score here tonight, 56-14. Oklahoma. Be sure to tune in to FS1 next Saturday for more Big 12 football as these same number 2 Oklahoma Sooners take on the Baylor Bears. That game will kick off at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. For David Anderson and Christian Steckel, this is Brendan Burke. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your weekend.